Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei was successor of Dragon Gods of Justice and became Goku Black movie. Before we start, please go support IsseiOmniversalCaos for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Issei Hyoudou is the black sheep of the Hyoudou family for being born without a sacred gear, like his sister Izumi, who was also born without a sacred gear. Currently, Issei is the successor of a powerful dragon and two beings who were once considered the gods of justice. Prologue. Universe 10. Planet of the god of destruction Rumush. The god of destruction of that universe was sitting on the grass eating next to his assistant Kuoh, an angel from Universe 10, someone of great power, despite having the appearance of a fragile girl, but the truth is that she was stronger than her brothers. She had 11 brothers, and none of them were strong enough to defeat her, since she had more power than the others. Rumush was also not strong compared to the god of destruction of Universe 7 called Bills, who was the strongest god of all. More than 5 years had passed since the Tournament of Power where Universe 7 won by reviving all the eliminated universes. Since then, Rumush has been preparing in case another tournament takes place, training his warriors who gave their all. The god of creation, Goku, has also been watching the progress of the warriors of Universe 10. But as he observed their progress through a crystal sphere, something caught his attention. There was a planet identical to Earth, but it seemed different. It had great Chi energies, but one in particular caught his attention, and upon closer inspection, he realized something that could give the god of destruction Rumush, or Bills, a fight at 100% power. Furthermore, Kuoh told Rumush about the Saiyan who surpassed the power of the gods, the one who managed to achieve Ultra Instinct, something that not many gods have achieved, much less mortals, except for Goku. Rumush saw the battle through Kuoh, who showed it to him with his staff. Rumush. That mortal called Son Goku is indeed a warrior to be feared and admired. I'm surprised that someone like him managed to reach Ultra Instinct. Kuoh. He was also the one who defeated Jiren, the warrior of Universe 11, being the most powerful warrior in the 12 universes. Rumush. We only know of 8 universes, we don't know what other kind of warriors exist in the other universes that didn't participate in the Tournament of Power. Also, thanks to that mortal named Goku, we realized that we need to train to overcome every limit within ourselves. That's why I sent my warriors to continue training in case another tournament takes place. Kuoh. Yes, Mr. Rumush, besides having made great progress, they are even stronger than before, and maybe they can give a fight to that Saiyan called Son Gohan, the son of Son Goku. Rumush. You may be right, but remember that he reached a new power that can surpass his strength, plus we learned that the warriors of Universe 7 have awakened new powers, and now that mortal named Goku and Vegeta have other children of the same Saiyan blood, and in a very short time they managed to reach Super Saiyan Blue. Kuoh. If that's true, the names of the new Saiyans are Beat and Note, and there's also another stronger Saiyan called Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan. Rumush. Yes, I think there was a female warrior of the same Saiyan race who could transform into the legendary Super Saiyan, but she wasn't that strong. Kuoh. That's true, Mr. Rumush. Rumush. Well, Kuoh, take me to Goku's world. I want to see how our warriors are progressing. Kuoh. Yes sir. Kuoh tapped her staff 3 times, and they shot off to the world of the god of creation. Since Kuoh was stronger, she was faster, and it only took them 3 minutes to arrive. In the world of Goku. He watched the training of the warriors of Universe 10, each one had surpassed their limits until they could defeat Gohan, whether in Super Saiyan 1, 2, or even Goku in blue or god form. Rumush. Well, I see with my own eyes that the great progress of our warriors is excellent. Goku. Oh, Mr. Rumush, it's a pleasure to see you again after 4 years. Rumush. It's been a long time since we last saw each other, so tell me how much progress you've made. Goku. They have advanced a lot, they have even surpassed their limits. Rumush. That's good to hear. Goku. Well, wouldn't you like to have a cup of tea, Mr. Rumush? Rumush. Yes, I would love to Goku. 10 minutes later, all the warriors were eating a delicious meal that Kuoh had prepared for everyone to regain energy for the next training session. Rumush. I will never tire of saying that I really like your tea Goku. Goku. Well, thank you. They continued talking about it and then a portal opened from which the Shinken, the high priest, emerged. The Shinken. It's been a long time since I've seen you gentlemen. I speak kindly. Everyone. It's the high priest. Everyone looked scared and bowed down to him from a few meters away. The Shinken. Hello Mr. Rumush, and it's a pleasure to see you, daughter. Kuoh. It's a pleasure to see you doing well, dad. The Shinken. You know very well that there is almost no one who can hurt me except Zeno-sama. Kuoh. Yes, that's true, but tell me, what is the reason for your visit to Universe 10? The Shinken. Yes, the reason I came is to tell you that Zeno-sama has proposed another tournament of power. Rumush. Another tournament of power. Grand Priest. Yes, now that Xeno-sama has a daughter, she also wants to see the power that the warriors of each universe have obtained, only now they will be different. Xeno-sama has given new rules. 1. 15 or 19 warriors from each universe may participate. 2. They may use Kai weapons. 3. They may use the Patara earrings. 4. They will have approximately 3 hours to win. 5. Universes will not be eliminated. 6. They will have 2 weeks to train and find other warriors. 7. It will be an exhibition match. These are the rules proposed by Xeno-sama. I've already notified the other gods of destruction. Only you and Beerus, the god of destruction, were missing. Ramush. Agreed, High Priest. The Shinken. See you soon. The Shinken leaves the universe to go to the next universe, but now Ramush was somewhat happy to know that the universes will not be eliminated. Goasu. Well, at least it's good to know that the universes weren't being eliminated. Ramush. Yes, but now the most important thing is to find more warriors for the tournament of power, and Xeno-sama wants a small exhibition fight to take place. Goasu. Did you know that Xeno-sama already had a daughter? Hus. Yes. Ramush. And why didn't you ever say so? Hus. Well, I'm not asking, Mr. Ramush, said the angel with an innocent smile, causing Goasu and Ramush to fall backwards and the other warriors to hold back their urge to faint from the little angel's innocence. Ramush. Well, that doesn't matter now, Goasu is looking for powerful warriors for the tournament. Goasu? Yes. Goasu took out the sphere and began searching every planet for a powerful warrior until he came across 3 who might be useful. Rimuru Tempest, Milim Nava, and Voldora. But they couldn't find any more. Ramush stood before him with the 3 warriors. Ramush. So you 2 are demon kings. Rimuru. If we are good except for that lazy dragon over there. Voldora. Hey, that offends me. Milim. Shut up, Voldora, my friend is telling the truth. Ramush. Well, can you teach me some skills, please? Voldora, yes. Hami Kami Ha. Just like Goku's, he shoots a Kai beam towards the sky and his beam was a little bigger than Goku's. Universe 7. Goku. Ahu. Vegeta. What's wrong, Kakarot? Goku. I feel like someone copied my Kamehameha, Vegeta. Vegeta. Ha, I want to see who copied you in the Zen exhibition match. Universe 10. Ramush and Goasu were wide-eyed because they knew that attack. Ramush. How did you learn that technique? Rimuru. Voldora reads a lot of comics and that's where he learned that attack, like many others. Goasu. Well, there are only 2 warriors left. Ramush. Yes. Goasu kept searching planet after planet until he came across Earth. Ramush found it interesting, so he asked Kus to find out about that world. Kus saw human people like those in Universe 7, but Goasu knew that something was wrong because, despite being quite far away, they could sense the energies of some people that were not at all normal. Kus told them that in that world there are supernatural beings that are angels, demons, fallen angels, yokai, Norse, Olympians, dragons, vampires. All those races were in the supernatural realm, but none of them caught their attention. They watched the battles of each of those beings, but not one was worthy. They saw every fight, but there was someone who did catch their attention. A black-haired boy with blood-red eyes. He was crying, hugging someone's grave, accompanied by a loli like Kus, but she had horns and dragon wings. Ramush. Who could he be? I sense a strong energy within the boy. Goasu. The one accompanying him also has a strong energy. Ramush. Kus, take us to that world. Goasu. Don't you want me to take you? Ramush. No, I want to hear this boy's story. If you want, come with us. Goasu held onto Ramush's shoulder and took them to the land, which would take 10 minutes. Ramush. Well, tell me about this guy. Hus. Yes, his name is Hyoudou Issei, he's 18, his story is very sad, full of hatred and evil. Since childhood, he was never treated well. He was beaten by his parents and siblings, except for his sister Izumi Hyoudou, who was born a year after Issei. The reason they beat him was that he was never good at anything. He wasn't good at subjects or sports like his siblings. That's why they started mistreating him and his sister Izumi Hyoudou. But his life worsened when 2 demon girls named Sona Sitri and Rias Gremory came to his house because of some energies inside the bodies of his 2 siblings, Max and Izumi. They told his family about the supernatural and the factions that are hidden from humans to maintain balance and prevent humans from being harmed by future threats if they expose themselves to them. His brother Max possessed Dryag, a celestial dragon that is on par with Son Goku in Super Saiyan form. Izumi, a dragon queen named Tiamat, who would also give him a run for his money, and Izumi, who thought they had absolutely no power because Issei did possess power, but it was sealed away, preventing its full extent from being revealed. After that, they began to torture him and his sister, damaging them greatly both physically and mentally, as they gradually lost their ability to feel pain and became increasingly cold. His sister Izumi was murdered at the age of 16 by a rogue demon sent by Max, Izami, and Rias Gremory to make Issei suffer even more, and that's what they achieved. They made the boy suffer, and he swore to avenge his sister's death by killing the rogue demon single-handedly. From within, a seal had been broken, and little by little, his power began to emerge. He didn't know about it, nor did those demons or his family. His siblings began lying to everyone at Kuoh Academy, saying that he was a pervert and that he was the one who killed his own sister 2 years prior and that he had also raped Izami, all to make him suffer. The kendo girls began beating him until he was badly injured. They called him a traitor because they believed he was the one giving information to rival schools. After that, he was killed by a fallen angel named Rainer, who had been killing many humans with sacred gear. Oasu. What are sacred gears? Hus. These are weapons that were created by the biblical god for humans to protect themselves. Rumush. Now it turns out there are false gods in that place, continues Kuss. Kuss. But Rias reincarnated him as a demon using 2 pawn pieces. She didn't know why he was killed if he never had any power or anything like that. As time passed, Issei trained in secret, surpassing the limits of a human. He faced a high-class demon named Riser Phoenix, an arrogant demon with regenerative abilities. Issei won the fight, but his sister Max lied to the parents and noble demons, claiming he had only been an obstacle in the battle. This earned him the hatred of the demons and the council elders for believing more in someone who wielded a celestial dragon than in someone like that boy, a reincarnated human. From then on, every battle, every strategy was stolen by his sister and brother. They lived a life of luxury, a life stolen from them, consumed only by hatred and evil. But someone helped him overcome that pain and not have to resort to darkness. That girl, named Lilith Ouroboros, is a celestial dragon goddess who can give Son Goku and Lord Vegeta and Super Saiyan Blue a run for their money. With the Kaioken and Super Saiyan Blue evolution, her story is the same as Issei's. She is from a family of dragons that are above the wish-granting dragons. Lilith was the most powerful of the 12 celestial dragon gods that existed, but she saw each of her brothers die before 3 dragons that were more powerful and dangerous. The 3 dragons were King Ghidorah, Bahamut and Zero, the first evil celestial dragon, being a dragon to be feared because he destroyed 10,000 worlds, becoming stronger and stronger. Oasu. Now I understand why 10,000 worlds were destroyed and I thought it was you, Rumush. Rumush. When did he destroy those cuss worlds? Cuss, it was 3,000 years ago, sir. Rumush. Yes, at that time I was still asleep. Oasu. Well, continue. Cud. Well, as I was saying, those 3 dragons ended the existence of the 11 heavenly dragon gods, leaving Lilith to see that the world isn't all sunshine and rainbows. She also witnessed her own father's death, giving him his power. She had been observing the human world for centuries until she saw Issei as someone who won her heart and affection. Thanks to him, she regained her emotions and feelings. She fell in love with him, and he with her. Since then, she has been helping Issei with his training to overcome his limits. Things remained the same, except that the vampire, dragon, and Olympian factions no longer despised or hated Issei. Instead, they helped him. He became friends with each of them, to the point of loving him like a brother or friend. Issei achieved many things, but his brother wasn't like that. He continued to steal his own brother's achievements by sleeping with many girls, like Rias and her entourage, Sona and her entourage, among other girls who fell at Max's feet, believing he was extremely powerful simply by possessing a celestial dragon. Issei and the others faced Trihexa, a dragon god of the apocalypse. Issei fought against this beast that only desired to destroy the world, but he gave it a great fight, ultimately winning the battle, though he nearly lost his life. His brother appeared and stole the credit and victory, and everyone believed in him. They betrothed many girls and had already revealed themselves to the humans, who welcomed them. Their technology improved and now they, or rather both worlds, combined in harmony, but for Issei, it was hell. He was banished from the supernatural world and removed from Ria's entourage because she believed he was a weakling who shouldn't have been recruited or reincarnated. Issei was saved by Lilith, who gave him a portion of her power, transforming him into a dragon, but an evil one, fueled by his desires for revenge and hatred, directed at the people who treated him like trash. Issei visited his sister Izumi's grave and has been searching for a way to bring her back. Oasu. He couldn't believe that someone like him had to go through so much. Rumush. Another reason why I want to go to that world, I want to destroy those factions for doing so much harm to that boy. Cuss. And there is something else, Mr. Rumush and Goasu. Oasu. What is Cuss? Cuss. He is the successor of the god of justice, also known as Zamasu and Goku Black. Oasu, upon hearing Zamasu's name, became sad because he could have chosen a better path. Oasu. But how is it possible that he is the successor of those two? Kuoh. Well, I don't know the details, but he has displayed Saiyan energy, just like a dragon, but it was already inside him. Ramush. Well, that doesn't matter for the moment. If that boy manages to control his Saiyan and dragon genes, he can become a great warrior for Universe 10. That girl named Lilith is also perfect as a warrior. Her power is necessary. Kuoh. We're almost there. Ramush and Goku saw the land from afar. Kuoh began to descend cautiously so as not to attract the attention of all the humans. Kuoh started to guide them to the place where Issei and Lilith were, but they found them very far from the city, more than 30,000 meters away. There was Issei on the ground. Lilith was there too, but Issei seemed furious. Ramush and Goku could hear Issei saying things, but very, very angry. Issei. First, those two damn girls come to my house and turn my life upside down. Then they steal my credits because thanks to me, this world would have ceased to exist. And now I find out they were the ones responsible for Izumi's death. That makes me so angry. I'm already furious about everything they did to me, and I'll never forgive them. I will forgive them. Issei unleashed a powerful Kai energy that reached titanic levels. His energy was so powerful that it began to destroy everything around him, creating large cracks. Mountains crumbled from the sheer amount of power released. Issei continued screaming as 4 dragon wings and 2 long tails sprouted from his wife. Issei continued screaming, but his cries sounded more like cries of pain. His eyes glowed bright red and he opened his mouth, firing a Kai beam at a mountain, which exploded into pieces. But he continued destroying everything in his path, drawing the attention of the factions with his immense power. Kuoh. Lord Ramush, the faction leaders are approaching. Ramush. Please do me the favor of calming him down. Kuoh nods his head and with great speed he hits Issei on the back of the neck, knocking him unconscious. Issei fell to the ground with his eyes closed, but he still had his wings and tails exposed. In addition to that, he had 4 horns like King Ghidorah's, but with different points on them, a horn on his forehead tilted backward, cracks around his eye, and his arms had black scales and very sharp claws. Ramush. Well, we have to take him far away from here. Lilith. Wait, Mr. Ramush and Goku. Both gods were very surprised because she knew them. Goku. Do you know us? Lilith. Mr. Goku, have you forgotten me? Goku. I'm sorry, but I don't recognize you. Lilith. But I did. You came into this world thousands of years ago with Lord Ramush and met my father Helios. Goku racked his brain until he finally remembered a girl with white hair and blue eyes. Goku. Lilith. Lilith. Yes, it's me, it's been a long time. Goku Ramush. Lilith. Both gods embraced Lilith because they consider her to be their daughter. Lilith. I'm also glad to see you all again, but we have to leave or the factions will see us. Ramush. Yes. Quickly take us far away from here. Kuoh did as asked, leading the 4 away. A few minutes later, the factions arrived, seeing the destruction Issei had left behind. Everything was destroyed, and from afar, they hated seeing the smoke rising into the clouds as they slowly turned black. But they found nothing out of the ordinary, only destruction everywhere. Chapter 1. Now. Issei and Lilith were far from Kuoh with the god of destruction of that universe, and the god of creation with his angel by his side. Issei was still unconscious, but unfortunately he underwent changes. He grew 10 horns, 2 dragon tails, 2 very large bat wings, and his hair was as black as night. Lilith was by his side, healing his wounds and restoring his power. Lilith knew whose power Issei had awakened and was afraid that one day he would seek revenge against the factions. It was possible that that being had enough power to destroy all the gods of destruction, even the angels of the universe, by drawing 50% of Deshinkan's power. Issei's subconscious. In Issei's mind, he seemed to be walking through a landscape of destruction, fire everywhere, the Gremory clan, Sitri Phoenix, all the clans, Grigory, Heaven, Asgard, in flames, everyone was dead from something, there was no one there, only explosions and collapses. Until he hears something. Drrrrrrrrrr. He turned slowly to see a huge column of smoke over 2,000 meters high. From the smoke. Then red eyes of different sizes appeared in the smoke, terrifying Issei. The being stood up and forcefully opened something, taking away the smoke to reveal its great size, which terrified him even more. It was a colossal dragon, 100,000 meters tall, with 12 black horns tipped with red, a large body that seemed swollen or something, but it had plates that were like spikes on its back, 2 gigantic wings over 100,000 meters long, a neck that wasn't very long, but did have spikes underneath it, 5 rows of sharp teeth of strange shapes, a long tail, 2 long arms with very sharp claws, its arms had scales that looked like spikes and bones with points sticking out, they also looked muscular. Its legs were large and powerful for making great leaps, but it supported itself with the help of its wings. I can't post the image so just imagine it. The dragon roared into the sky, spreading its wings and looking majestic and terrifying. Its roar was so powerful that Issei had to cover his ears. The dragon stops roaring and looks at Issei as if he were prey. "So you are my successor." Issei was terrified by the voice of that dragon that could even humiliate the strongest dragon gods. Issei. Who are you? Many call me the Great Destroyer, the Dragon of the End, but I am Zero, the Dragon of Judgment Day, the King of Darkness and Destruction. Issei was scared because in front of him was the most powerful being in the entire universe. Issei. Impossible, according to what I read in a book, you died. And I did it, I am dead, but the reason I am inside you is because you are my son. Issei was in shock. He was the son of a powerful dragon capable of destroying the entire universe in an instant. This dragon was feared, and when he disappeared, many believed he would return someday, bringing terror to all and wanting to destroy every world that exists. Issei. That's impossible, I'm a human, it's not possible that I'm the son of a dragon like you. Well, believe it because I'm telling the truth. I gave you life. I created you to be different and stronger than me. I sent you to Earth thousands of years ago, but you remained in a deep sleep where you neither grew nor aged. It was as if time passed quickly, but very slowly for you. Until, in this era, the Hyoudou family found you in the forest and adopted you as their biological son. They had another son, also named Issei, but he died in childbirth. Nikki was devastated, so when she saw you and noticed your resemblance to her son, she thought you were you and switched you with her before giving the baby to her. Arms, that's why you're not from that family. Your younger sister Izumi knew it. I visited her in her dreams, telling her that you are my son and not theirs. You suffered a lot because of them, but now that you have awakened your hidden power, you no longer have to worry. You can destroy the factions if you wish or not. Issei now understood the constant nightmares he had when he saw a large dragon, in addition to seeing other dragons, but like children looking at him. Issei was despised even though he was never the son of that family. Issei. So they hated me even though I was never part of their family. All that torture was stupid, even though I was never their son. Issei releases a strange aura that the dragon recognized perfectly. Well, it seems you have managed to awaken your great Saiyan power. Issei turns around and sees a subject in a black guy with messy hair. The other one was like black, but his hair was silver and his skin was green, in addition to having a halo on his back. Issei. Who are you? I am Black, the god of justice. And I am Zamasu, just like Black, but you are the essence of us both, counting on that dragon you see, who is your father. Zero. It's been so long since I've seen you too. Black. It's a pleasure to see you again, Zero of the Doomsday Dragon. Zamas. The Dragon of Judgment Day is impressive, and it's amazing that his son is our reincarnation, but it's good that way because with our genes of God, Saiyan, and Dragon, he forms an invincible being. Issei. Saiyan, what's that? Black. Well, we have a lot to tell you. Black and Zamasu had to tell Issei about the Saiyans and the universes. At first, Issei didn't believe them, but with their demonstration of power, he accepted that what they said was real. Issei. Well, what do I do now that I know I am his successor and the son of a gigantic dragon with superior power? Black. You must train to adapt to our powers if you wish to be the strongest being in the entire universe. Issei. And how long will it take me to adapt to his power? Zamas. Well, we don't know exactly how long it will take you, but if you manage to enter a time chamber or be somewhere where you can train, it will be enough for you to awaken Super Saiyan 1 and the others to reach Rose and Blue. Black. Now you must wake up, that dragon girl is worried about you. Outside Issei's mind. Issei opens his red eyes, seeing the person he loves very much, and that was Lilith. Lilith. You're back. Issei. I'm sorry for worrying you, my little dragon. Lilith hugs him and he returns her hug. Lilith. It's okay, don't worry. Issei looked around, but realized he was far from Kuoh, but he could see the large amount of smoke rising to the sky from the destruction he left behind, and the fire was spreading. With the naked eye, he could see all the supernatural beings trying to put out the fire. Issei. Did I do that? Lilith. Yes, you unleashed your anger and destroyed that place, but luckily no one was there. And by the way, Issei, there are people who want to talk to you. Issei turns around and sees a humanoid being, like an elephant, pink in color but wearing Egyptian-style clothing, and another one with yellow skin, some white hair, and wearing different clothing. Issei. Who are you? Rumush. I am Rumush, the god of destruction of this universe, and he is Goasu, the god of creation, and of course, my assistant Kuss, my angel. Kuss appears behind Rumush, and when Issei saw her he felt his heartbeat as fast as hers did when she saw him. Issei. A god of destruction, as far as I know, there is only Shiva, there is no one else who is a god of destruction. Rumush. Child, if you only knew that the gods of your world are nothing more than mere insects to me, I can destroy your world and destroy those dragon gods. That god called Elohim is not worthy of being called a god either because he is nothing compared to me. I am the deity who is above those gods, I am the god of the destruction of the universe. 10 Rumush. Issei was now impressed to learn that the gods of his world were nothing compared to him, and he also found the thing about Universe 10 strange. Issei. Universe 10. Oasu. Well, I'll explain it to you. You see, young Issei, there are 12 universes. In each universe, there is a god of destruction who has an obligation to fulfill. To destroy worlds that may need to be destroyed or that simply deserve it. In my case, I am a god of creation who can create new worlds or bring new beings to life. That is why we are very strong, and your gods are nothing. They are just imposters. Issei. I see, but what about that little girl? They say she's an angel, right? Why don't I see her wings? Us didn't take it well when they called her a little girl and got a little annoyed, so she went at great speed and hit Issei on the head with her staff. Issei. Ow, 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 that hurt. Why did you hit me? Cuss. I'm not a little girl, I'm 20,000 years old. Issei was impressed by that. Cuss. And secondly, I am not an angel like those in your world, I am different, I am stronger than the god of destruction Rumush and the other gods, even my brothers. Issei. I see. Well, what are you doing here, you who are the strongest deities in the universe? Rumush. We are looking for warriors for a tournament that will end in 2 weeks. Issei. A tournament, and what's it about? Rumush. The survival of the universe. You'll see, if we lose, Universe 10 will disappear at Xenosama's hands. Issei. Xenosama. And who is that? Oasu. He is the most important god in the universe, he is the one who is above all universes. Rumush. Yes, as I was saying, and for the tournament to take place, 16 warriors are needed. If we don't win the tournament, the entire universe will disappear and we are looking for 2 missing warriors. Tell me, Issei, do you want to enter this tournament to prevent the destruction of our universe? Issei. Let me think about it for a moment. Lilith and Issei went to talk about whether or not to enter. Oasu, why did you lie to them, ma'am? Rumush. I know that boy won't accept if I tell him the truth and we need to win this tournament, otherwise Xenosama might change his mind and decide to destroy the universes. Besides, that boy has already awakened his lineage and he also spoke with Black and Zamasu. Oasu became sad upon hearing that. Oasu. This time I'm taking his side. He might be telling the truth, but what will we gain if he accepts? Issei approaches and asks them. Issei. What do I gain if I agree to enter the tournament? Rumush. If you win, you can grant any wish you want to the Super Dragon Balls, which are the size of a planet and have the greatest power to grant any wish you desire, like to revive your sister. Issei lowered his gaze and his hair covered his eyes. Issei. How do you know? Oasu. Cuss told them, but he's telling the truth, Issei. If you enter the Wheel of Power and the Zen exhibition match, you can bring your sister back to life and tell the supernatural the truth about who their real hero was. Issei. I don't care about them anymore, they live or die, I only care about humans, that's what matters most to me. Rumush. I understand, and tell me, will you enter the lathe? Issei. Yes, if it's for the entire universe and for my sister, I'll do it. I don't care who they are, I'm going to defeat them. Rumush smiled happily. Rumush. Okay, we'll come for you in 2 weeks for the Zen exhibition certificate, so train, Issei, and you too, Lilith, if you want to enter the lathe. Issei and Lilith look at each other and nod. Rumush and Goasu leave Earth to return to their worlds and continue training their warriors like Milim, Rimuru, and Voldora. Lilith and Issei were still in that place. Lilith. And tell me, Issei, is there any specific place where you can train and manage to reach Zero's dark balance breaker? Issei. Yes, I will go to Purgatory. Lilith was impressed and didn't know why he wanted to go to Purgatory, but it must be for a reason. Issei. I discovered that 1 day in Purgatory is a year, so I'll be there for 3 days to train. Don't worry about me, I'll be fine. Just make sure no one knows where I'll be or about the tournament. Lilith. I promise you, Issei. Issei pulls out a sword of guilt, makes a cut in the sky, and opens a crack through which he enters. Purgatory. Issei had arrived in Purgatory, but he sees a Reaper who sees him and asks him. Grim Reaper. What are you doing here if you haven't committed a sin? Issei. I came here to train for 3 years, 3 days they told me it's 3 years, is that true? Reaper. Yes, that's true, but tell me another reason why you're here. Issei. Well, the reason I'm going to train is because in 2 weeks there will be a tournament and if we don't win, the universe and our world will be completely erased. Reaper. What? Well, if it's for the survival of the universe, you can train as long as you want, Issei. Get strong and show the beings of the universe that you are the strongest. The mark disappeared, leaving Issei in that place. He decided to walk further and further until he reached the true purgatory, and when he touched the place, he fell to the ground because the gravity was monstrous. Issei. Haha, this will help me. Exactly son, this will be useful for you to reach the balance breaker and from there train the powers of black and Zombies. Issei. Yes, father, I won't disappoint you. Outside. Lilith went to a place where she could train well without any problems, in addition to having her armor and something else to help her become stronger. Planet of Rumush. Rumush was sitting eating with Kuoh. Rumush. Tell me, do you think Issei will be able to master his power? Kuoh. I think so, Mr. Rumush. Rumush. Being the son of a powerful dragon and being a god of justice is a great deal, and it also creates a new being of great power, through which the entire universe will know its immense power. Kuoh, do you want the fight broadcast live, sir? Rumush. Yes, so that the universe sees that they have a warrior who fights for everyone and for his loved ones, so that those factions see that they have discarded someone who could have saved them from what is coming. Without Issei, they are nothing. His brothers are nothing against him if he reaches Balance Breaker or Super Saiyan, whether it's 1 or 3, but I know that his goal is to reach Rose and Blue, since those two are extremely powerful forms that rival the gods. Planet Earth 3 days later. Lilith had finished training at home, and now it was time to train in Purgatory. She was outside Purgatory waiting for Issei to emerge. The doors opened, revealing a black-haired boy with blood-red eyes, wearing somewhat worn clothes stained with blood. Lilith. How are you feeling, Issei? Issei. I feel incredible. The power that Issei exuded was overwhelming and monstrous. Being a dragon meant that Issei Ogre could master all his power to 100%, but now he only lacked the training for the Super Saiyan. Lilith. Well, Issei, during the time you were in Purgatory, I built you a time room with part of my time power. Inside, time passes faster than outside. You'll be inside for 4 years, and outside it will be 4 minutes. Issei nods and kisses Lilith on the lips, who returns the kiss. They both separate blushing. Issei. Let's show the universe that nobody messes with us and that we are the most powerful warriors in the 12 universes. Lilith. Yes. Lilith enters Purgatory and Issei goes to the time chamber to train and master his Saiyan powers. In his first year, Issei did around 10,000 squats, 10,000 sit-ups, and 20,000 push-ups. His masters taught him the manipulation of Kai and how to create the sword and scythe that they used against Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks. Issei had to increase his speed to be faster and keep up with Goku and the others. Black taught Issei how to become SSJ 1, 2, and 3, and to reach Rose, he had to train more or have a goal of anger, or well, something had to happen to make him get too angry and become SSJ Rose. After 8 years inside the time room, he was now faster than before, he learned how to control Kai and how to shoot Kai beams and other things like Kamehameha, Final Flash, Spirit Bomb, Big Bang Attack, Black Sphere. Final Judgment, a beam he learned from Zero, gathering a large amount of evil in his chest and expelling it as a huge black and white beam. High Sword. Ball of Resentment. Super Kamehameha. Those were the skills he acquired, among others. His teachers were proud of him, but he would still have to train more and more to reach Super Saiyan Rose or Super Saiyan Blue, which are extremely powerful forms. Issei trains Amasu's powers because he is fused with Black, or rather the other Black, and Issei could take his form well fused. Black. Well done, Issei, you have managed to surpass your limits, but if you wish to go further, have that angel named Kuoh help you with SSJ Rose and Blue. Issei. What? Are you leaving already? Zombies. That's right, Issei, we have completed our mission. We have found our successor. You will be the god of justice, the one who will bring peace and show everyone that with you and your girlfriend, no one messes with Universe 10, and that you are one of the most powerful warriors in all the universes. Black. Keep training, Issei. Don't fall behind. Surpass every limit you have. Remember, the more you fight, the stronger you'll become. That's the key, and that's the Saiyan blood that now runs through your veins. Issei didn't want to say goodbye, but he had no other choice. He ran and hugged his 2 teachers who were shocked that Issei did that, but then returned Issei's hug. Issei. I'll miss you, senseis. Black. Us too, Issei. Zombies. We left something for you outside the room of time for you to use in any battles you may have in this world. Issei. Thank you. Black and Zombies saw that little by little their bodies turned into particles that began to go to another place. Black, see you soon, Issei. Both beings, who were feared in the future of another timeline, had left in peace. Issei stayed there watching as the particles left the time room, so he decided to leave that place as well. He saw how the particles went towards the sky until they disappeared into the dark night sky. Issei saw that on the ground near the door was a guy that his master Black used, as well as a somewhat strange but somewhat scary mask. Issei mixed his dragon power with the mask to give it even better touches. These had spikes at the bottom that covered the mouth and at the top that covered the face. When he put it on, the spikes held very strongly. The ones at the top lengthened considerably, creating horns and a gem on the forehead, but this gem looked more like the eye of a red reptile. He put on his guy and it fit him perfectly. He felt the Kai and power of his beloved approaching him. He removed his mask and returned it to its original state. Lilith had arrived, but now Issei felt that his power was already superior to before. He felt he was 5 times stronger than before, and with that power he imagined he could fight Goku and Vegeta in Super Saiyan Blue and Blue Evolution, Vegeta's form, or even beyond Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. Lilith, I see that your training has paid off, darling. Issei. Yes, but it's still not enough. I have to be stronger than before if I want to surpass my masters. Lilith. You'll make it, darling. By the way, did you reach the balance breaker? Issei, if I show you. Dark Dragon. Balance. Breaker. Issei was surrounded by black and white fire until he unleashed a huge lightning bolt into the sky, creating a storm. Black and white lightning also appeared wherever he was. Issei's power in that armor was overwhelming. He was practically so powerful that he could defeat all the Mo's, Seraphim, gods like Odin, Thor, even Zeus and his brothers. Issei now had armor like the Sekiryuutei's, but it looked evil. The entire armor was black, but the gems were blood red, and his helmet was different from the Sekiryuutei's. It was this one. Helmet. His wings were different, they were larger, as well as being very strong and impossible to destroy. His armor was made of a very powerful and unbreakable material that not even the Olympian and Hindu gods could break, nor the dragon gods, except for Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Frieza, as well as Jiren and Toppo. His tail was thicker, and in his gloves he had 2 swords that belonged to Issei. Issei. What do you think of Lilith? Lilith. You look amazing. Universe 7. On Earth, Beerus, the god of destruction of Universe 7, and his angel Whis, were observing all the fighters who would participate in the Tournament of Power. These were Goku, Vegeta, Frieza, King Cold, Beat, Note, Piccolo Android 17, Android 18, Gohan, Humber, Bardock, Jine, Majin Buu, Tien, Master Roshi, Krillin, and Broly. They would all be the ones who would fight. Bills. Well, we have those who are going to fight. I just hope they have made great progress during these years that I almost didn't come to Earth. Goku. Don't worry, Mr. Bill, just like me, Vegeta, Frieza, Gohan, Piccolo, Broly, Buu, and my parents, along with Summit, have made great progress, haven't we? Freezer. If it's true, ho ho, I can't wait to show the other universes our power. Vegeta. Ha, I'm starting to like him. Freezer. I hope your daughter is as strong as you, Vegeta. I hope to fight you someday. Vegeta. Ha, you can be sure we will fight to see who is stronger. Freezer. I like that. They bump fists. For some time now, Freezer has managed to unlock a new transformation of great power and he has become somewhat good. He hardly destroys planets anymore but protects people from other worlds. Whis. Okay guys, go get some rest. It was a long day of training. Everyone went to sit down or eat, but Goku, Frieza, Broly and Jine were looking at the sky. Milk. What's wrong, Goku? Goku. I don't know, Milk, but I feel like there's someone much more powerful. It must be someone we've already fought. Vegeta. Like who? Goku. Black. Vegeta gets flashbacks to his fight against Black. Vegeta. Don't remind me of that insect, he killed many people from Trunks' other timeline and almost killed us if it hadn't been for Zeno-sama. Goku. I know Vegeta, but I feel that there is someone like him who will soon prove who is the strongest. Freezer. You have nothing to fear, we are stronger, and besides, I also want to fight Jiren. If that guy is stronger, we can use fusion or the Patara earrings. Bardock. I agree with him, I feel that there is someone stronger than us and we will see that in the Zen exhibition tournament. What did you think? Give me a rating out of 10. Which other warrior do you want me to put in Universe 7? List. Raditz. Gur. A demon from Dragon Ball Z. Granola. Who do you want to participate in the Universe 10 tournament? Oswald Igad. Dipper Gleeful and Mabel Gleeful. Kara, descendant of King Ghidorah. Twilight Sparkle, descendant of Bahamut. Shadow King. Hold votes for who you want to participate and be the warriors of Universe 10. That's all for now, see you soon. Chapter 2. After Issei and Lilith finished their training, Issei decided to leave Kuoh forever. He couldn't stand being there anymore because it brought back painful memories from his childhood, and besides, he didn't want to see those responsible for the death of his younger sister, whom he loved dearly and who would be his future partner and Lilith's harem sister. If Issei won the Tournament of Power, he would not only wish to bring his sister back, but also grant her the same powers he possessed, like Saiyan and Dragon Blood. He would train her himself so she would be as strong as him, protecting the entire universe from future threats. Issei now knew a great deal about the universe thanks to his master's memories. He could now master Super Saiyan 1 and 2, but could barely master Super Saiyan 3, and his goal was to reach Super Saiyan Rose and Super Saiyan Blue. Lilith. Are you sure, darling? Issei. Yes, I'm very sure, Lilith. If we stay here, we'd just be wasting time waiting for me to save them again. They should take care of themselves now. Lilith. It doesn't matter if they consider us enemies someday. I still won't leave your side. Issei hugs Lilith and kisses her on the lips, and she returns the kiss. Issei. I won't let anything happen to you, Lilith, I promise you that. Besides, we must find the descendants of the other dragons to see if they can also become new warriors for Universe 10. Lilith. Yes, go and pack your things. Issei flew away quickly, unseen by the demons who were searching for something. He arrived home just before everyone else did. He packed some clothes, but something fell out of one of his folders, revealing a sheet of paper that read, "Congratulations, you have been selected to enroll at Shadow Academy." It was a much better academy than Kuoh's, located in Tokyo, the largest city in Kuoh. He wanted to go to that academy, but his parents had refused, and you probably already know why. So he would attend the academy where his siblings would go, to keep him under close watch. But now that he knew they weren't his real parents, he could make any decision he wanted. He took the sheet of paper and left, but not before destroying all the photos and other things with his dragon fire, burning the entire place down, and creating a clone of himself. Note. It is his ability to create clones of himself without taking away a single bit of power. They had the same powers, he can even create clones of his masters. The clone felt no pain when burned by the flames. It was a plan of Issei's to pretend that he died, so that no one would look for him, because they would suspect that he escaped or something like that. Besides, he left the pieces on the ground. So Issei left the mansion and flew to where Lilith was waiting for him. They flew at great speed to Tokyo, where they would begin a new life. Issei could return whenever he wanted, but he wouldn't for the time being, as he would be in for more surprises there. 5 minutes later. Everyone had returned to the mansion, but seeing one of the rooms burning, Izami ran, along with the others, to see which room it was. Izami ran and ran until she reached the burning room, which turned out to be Issei's. She pounded on the door repeatedly until she managed to break it down, witnessing the worst of her being. Her brother was dead, many parts of his body burned. She tried to help him, but it was useless. The fire consumed everything completely, leaving only his bloody clothes, his arm, and the pawn pieces that had been his. Tiamat. I hope you're happy now with what you've done, Izami. Because of you, Issei is dead. Izami. This isn't true. This has to be a dream. He can't be dead. Tiamat. He is dead, and this is proof that he suffered a lot, because otherwise he would never have taken his own life like that. Izami took the pieces and ended up crying with pain and sadness for what she had done. She left the room, which was already burned, but the fire was extinguished by her ice power. The others were waiting for Izami to come down, but when they saw her holding something in her arms covered with burnt and bloody clothing, Rias approached her to get a better look. She noticed that Izami was shedding tears. She extended her hand to Rias, and Rias received the pawn pieces, still slightly warm and bloody. Rias knew whose they were, and when she removed the cloth covering what Izami was holding, she covered her mouth because it was the arm of Issei. Izami. Issei is dead. Everything was silent. Some girls were happy that he was dead, except for one, Rainer, who was forgiven. She was Issei's former partner, but she cheated on him with Saji, Sona's pawn. She had his mark on her left arm, but she kept it hidden under her clothes, and she started to cry. His parents were happy that he was dead since, according to them, he was a burden and useless, without magic or anything. Haha, of course, he says that when he has the greatest power in the entire universe. Back to Issei. He had arrived in Tokyo with Lilith, and well, Issei was good at hacking. He stole a lot of money from all the clans of the underworld, Gregory, Cielo, and the treasures of Dryag and Tiamat, as well as those of Vitra, and even Albion as punishment for its wielders. Since Issei had the power to manipulate time, he altered everything in the world as they traveled. Time would pass very quickly. 2 weeks would become 2 years, which Issei could use to train more and study, as well as deal with the Chaos Brigade, since they were a major headache for him. Issei. I've already set the time loop on the entire planet. Lord Rumush will arrive in 2 weeks, but now it will be 2 years. Lilith. That can give us time for each other and to study. Issei. That's right. Lilith. should we buy a house? Issei. Yes, let's go. Issei and Lilith went downstairs and began looking for houses for sale that might suit them. They found one that cost 100,000 yen. Obviously, Issei bought the house and now he and Lilith would live there. But the house was a bit far from the city and with their powers, they transformed it into a 10-story mansion with 2 swimming pools, 2 hot springs, a training room, a video game room, an elegant living room, and a 32-inch television. In total, there were 17 televisions, as they were in every room. Issei knew that perhaps his other companions from Universe 10 would come to his world to meet him and stay on that planet for a while. Issei. Well, with the money we spent, we have 900,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 yen in cash, and I put it all in the vault, which is armored enough to withstand the explosion of a planet. Plus, it doesn't have a code or anything like that like the others. Lilith. You sure took precautions. Issei. What can I say, Lilith? Lilith sat on Issei's lap and got comfortable. Issei knew what his little dragon was getting at, so he put his hand on Lilith's leg, who moaned a little at the touch. She just smiled, and little by little, they were getting closer to kiss when. Knock knock. The doorbell rang, so Issei got up to see who it was, and what a pleasant surprise it was to see his companions. Murichim, Lilivu, Jirasan, Murisum, Mekiab, Napapa, Rubrit, Jilkal, Opni, Jayam, Vildora, Rimuru, and Milim. Issei. Guys, I wasn't expecting to see you. What can I do for you? Rimuru. Nothing, we just wanted to see you and see if what Lord Ramush said was true, that you're a Saiyan now. Issei. Yes, I am a Saiyan, or well, a very strange one, since I'm also a dragon. By the way, would you like to come in? Opni. We wouldn't cause you any trouble, would we? Issei. No, of course not. Lilith is inside too. Besides, you're welcome anytime, but you have to change your appearances, since in this world, humans don't know about you or the supernatural. Papa. Well, that's true, but how are we going to do it? We only fight, but we don't know how to change our appearance. Issei. Lilith. Leave it to me. Both using their dragon powers, they fired lights that gradually changed their friend's appearance, making them look more human than alien. Rimurf and the other 2 didn't change their appearance since they already looked human, but he did give Milim and Vildora new clothes. Milim. What are the clothes for? Issei. Your outfit is very provocative and it looks like you're barely wearing anything, showing off too much of your body. Milim. I see. Thanks, friends. Issei. You're welcome, Milim. Vildora. Hey Issei, I heard you still have your father's dragon form memorized. Could you show it to us? Issei. Sure. Issei created a hologram until they heard Zero's great roar, which made everyone present tremble, and gave Vildora goosebumps when she saw his dragon form, which was even bigger than any dragon in existence. It even scared me to see it and hear its roar. Issei. Is that enough? But he sees that Vildora was on the ground trembling with fear, her eyes white. Rimuru. I think she got really scared. Milim. Haha, she got scared easily. Issei felt that now everything would change for him and all his friends. Ramush's planet. Ramush. So Issei created a time dome over the entire planet. Hus. Yes, that's right, Lord Ramush. What will he do? Ramush. Nothing, cuss. Let him have some free time. The tournament of power is still a ways off and he can help train the others. By the way, do you think Rimuru could even become stronger than Zeno-sama? Hus. Well, he hasn't yet surpassed his limits, but when he does, he'll be even stronger than him. Ramush. That would be an advantage for Universe 10 and it would make him the new king of everything. But if Issei gets stronger and stronger, to the point of being even stronger than Zeno-sama, Deshinken, and the dragon god Zamara, I think that's his name, he will be the great king of everything. Cuss. That's true. Ramush. Come on, Cuss, we have work to do. Chapter 3. Issei now had to become stronger and stronger because when the 2 years passed, he would reveal himself to all supernatural beings, confessing the truth of everything if someone didn't do it before him. But he wanted to do good with his Saiyan and dragon power. He was, so to speak, a unique hybrid, being the son and descendant of a great dragon, as well as being the successor of 2 gods of unimaginable power. Issei no longer cared about the supernatural, only about humans and the universe. Now he could attend the academy in Tokyo, the Shadow Academy, which he so longed to be at. She changed her clothes and headed toward Shadow Academy to enroll, but because of her changed face and hair, many girls who passed by her blushed and thought many unholy things when they were near her. Issei. I really am a magnet for women, I just hope Lilith manages to overcome her limits for the tournament of power. Issei kept walking without noticing that he bumped into someone. Issei. Sorry, I didn't realize where I was going. Don't worry, I was distracted. The girl and Issei looked at each other for a long time. The girl had dark purple hair with thick pink and purple streaks. Issei. Excuse me, I'm Issei. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Twilight Sparkle, it's a pleasure, Issei. Twilight said with a smile, adding that she had headphones on, which is why they bumped into each other, as she wasn't paying attention because she was texting. Issei. Well, excuse me, I have to go because I'm going to the Tokyo Academy. Twilight. With a smile, well, I hope we meet again someday, Issei. Goodbye. So Twilight and Issei went their separate ways. Issei arrived at Shadow Academy, where he decided to enroll. The academy was much larger than Kuoh's, 3 times as big. There were many beautiful girls of different ages, from 13 to 19 years old. They all looked at Issei with hard eyes and blushed, and the men were jealous that someone more handsome than them had arrived. Girl 1. Kaya, he's so cute. Girl 2. I want her to go out with me. Among other things they said to our protagonist, but he didn't care, although he was embarrassed about being handsome because he attracted a lot of attention. Issei entered the academy and headed to where the principal's office was located. Issei knocked 3 times and from inside he heard her come in. Issei opened the door and entered, seeing the director, a man of about 59 years of age, with some grey hair, wearing glasses and well-groomed, being handsome like Issei, even at a very advanced age, made him look handsome to women his age. Director. What can I do for you, young man? Issei. Yes, I came to enroll in this academy. 2 years ago I received this note with a scholarship. Issei hands him the scholarship and the director reads it. Director. Fine, but you need to take a 20-minute exam to see what grade I should put you in. The principal gives Issei the exam and he sits down in a nearby chair and begins to take it so that he can at least be placed in 2A because he finds 2A more interesting. Using his intelligence, Issei answers the exam in 10 minutes and hands it to the principal, who is impressed by his intelligence and the speed at which he finishes the exam so quickly. Director. Okay, you'll start on Monday, you'll be in 2A. Here are the papers and the uniform. Issei takes the paper and the uniform and goes to the mansion so he can be ready for Monday. As he walked, he felt something else approaching, and that made him happy. He felt that very soon he would return to his hometown to prevent an enemy from doing something stupid. Issei. So they're still alive, huh? I'll enjoy ending their lives and showing those fools my power, though I won't do it alone. Behind him emerged 2 figures like him. Issei. They will take the forms of my masters, Black and Zamasu, while I will use my dragon power. The 2 clones take the form of Black and Zamasu, wearing the clothes they wore when they appeared before Issei, and he would use his great dragon power to humiliate those beings who fake their deaths. Issei. I feel something about that Twilight girl, I need to find out more later so I can get to the bottom of this. Issei's appearance. Old appearance only with brown hair and hazel eyes. Current appearance. He can change his hair color to black or white whenever he wants. Chapter 4. With Issei. Issei. It's time to have fun like you guys did with me. He said, putting his fingers to his forehead. Issei used teleportation, but where did he go? Kuoh City. Kuoh Academy. At Kuoh Academy, Rias Gremory's entourage, including Issei's brothers and also accompanied by Yuma and Sona Sitri, were heading to clean the academy's swimming pool. Rias. Okay guys, everyone go get changed. She said, looking at her entourage. Retinue of Rias. Hi. Sona. You too. She said, looking at her entourage. Sona entourage. Hi. So everyone went to the changing room separately, the women to one and the men to another, while Sona and Rias stayed by the pool. Sona, a notary, was looking at her reflection in the pool with a sad face. Sona. Rias, what's wrong with you these days? You've been acting very strange. She said, looking at Rias seriously. Rias. It's nothing, Sona. I'm just thinking about how to impress Ryu at a party the leaders are planning. Looking at Sona with a fake smile. Sona. Rias, we've known each other since we were little girls, and I know when you're worried about something you put on that fake smile, so tell me what's bothering you. She said with her arms crossed. Rias. I can't hide anything from you, can I? The truth is, a few days ago I had a horrible nightmare. She said sadly. Sona. A nightmare, and you dreamt it to be like this? Rias. I dreamed about Issei, she stuttered. Sona. She said, surprised. Sona. It must have been just a dream, Rias. She said, adjusting her glasses. Rias. No, Sona, that dream was horrible. I'll be honest with you, Sona. Ever since Issei died, I've felt a pain in my chest. I felt like I was losing someone precious and that a part of my heart was being taken away. She said, shedding a few tears. Sona. Rias, Issei died, but before he did, he betrayed us. He joined forces with Rizevim, the greatest enemy of the supernatural. But now tell me, what was that dream like? Rias. I remember being in a very dark place and I only walked a little way and saw him. I saw Issei, but he looked at me with a disappointed expression. What scared me was that behind him there were 3 terrifying shadows with red eyes. She said, tears welling up in her eyes. Sona. What was that shadow? She said, placing her hands on her shoulders. Rias. I don't know, Sona, I just saw Issei walk away into the darkness. The shadows just watched me, and with that terrifying smile, it grew bigger and ate me. When I woke up, I cried a lot. I know you won't believe me, Sona, but it's true. She said with tears. Sona. Don't laugh, I believe you, she said, starting to tear up. Rias. She said, surprised. Sona. Because I dreamt it too, and I also feel guilty every day about Issei, but I don't know why I feel that way, but I don't want to feel it anymore. She said with tears. Rias hugged Sona and she hugged her back. Rias. I want to stop feeling this way too. It wasn't just that one day. It's every day I see Issei in my dreams with Max. During the day I'm happy, but at night Issei torments me with that shadow. She said with tears in her eyes. But at that moment their entourages appeared in swimsuits and saw their mistresses hugging and crying. Ryu. What happens? The Kuoh. Rias, why are you crying? She said, looking at her friend. Asia. Rias-san, what's wrong with you? The rest of Ria's entourage asked their mistress why she was acting this way. Sona's entourage was doing the same. Rias. It's nothing, guys. Sona and I were just reminiscing about our happy childhood moments. She lied. Sona. Yes guys, don't worry, let's go, we have to finish the job, she said, looking at her entourage. Sona and Sona's entourage went to clean the changing rooms and Ria's entourage went to clean the pool. But Ryu stayed behind. Ryu. Rias, I'm sure you're okay. Rias. If Ryu doesn't have anything, she said, lying. Ryu. If you have any problems, you can tell me. He said, smiling at Rias. Ryu approached Rias and was about to kiss her, but Rias stopped him with her fingers. Rias. We have to go with the others, Ryu. Rias said, walking away. Rias moved away from Ryu. Ryu found Ria's behavior strange and also noticed that she was acting odd, not like the Rias he knew. A few minutes passed and everyone finished their tasks and went to change out of their swimsuits into their academy uniforms. They were in the academy courtyard, but… Dreg. Ryu, watch out. Dreg shouts in the form of a gauntlet. Tiamat. A zombie gauntlet-shaped scream. The others did not understand the cry of the celestial dragons until one of them noticed it by looking up. Yuma. Light spears, dodge them quickly. Shouts to the others. The others saw many spears of light in the sky coming towards them and they dodged each one. Suddenly, a barrier formed, enclosing the academy. The others didn't understand what was happening, but above them they saw an army of fallen angels. Tsubaki. Kaicho, we're being attacked by rogue fallen angels. She said, dodging a spear. Ryu. Damn it, Dreg, give me some power-ups. Dreg. Just because it's an emergency boost. Ryu. Dragon shoot. Ryu launched his attack on the fallen and defeated some of them. Rias Sona. Counter-attack. The Kuoh. Take this. Throwing lightning bolts. They all obeyed their mistress's orders, attacking with their magical powers. When they finished, the fallen angels lay on the ground with many wounds. Ryu. Tell me who was the bastard who sent them to attack us? He said interrogatively. Fallen angel R. Those were orders from our leader. Sona. Tell me who their leader is, she ordered. The angel didn't finish speaking because he was shot in the chest. The others turned on the culprit. It's bad to reveal your classmates, he said with a sadistic smile. Kiba. It can't be, you were supposed to be dead. He said incredulously. Izami. This can't be real. The Kuoh. Impossible. Asia. No, she said, frightened. Rias. How are you alive? She said in amazement. The rest of Ria's entourage would just be as amazed as Sona's. Yuma. How are you alive, Fred? Fred. It's been a while, Hyoudou Kiba. Looking at Kiba with a smile. Kiba. Damn it, how did you survive? I defeated you with my balance breaker. He said angrily. Fred. I only had a second chance licking his sword. Momo. Second chance. She said in amazement. Fred. If I get a second chance to kill the men that nun pointing at Asia and get revenge on Hyoudou Kiba. Rias. That doesn't answer how you're still alive. Fred. Ha 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 ha, laughing like crazy. Sona. That's funny. She said angrily. But the sky began to change and from the sky came people they never thought they'd see again. Yuma. It can't be. She said incredulously. The cat ate your tongue, Rainer. How awful, Rainer, you forgot about us so quickly. How could he not forget if he's with the enemy? Said with his arms crossed. Yuma. Donasek, Kalwerner, middled. Yuma and the others couldn't believe what they were seeing. Their enemies alive and kicking right in front of their eyes. Ryu. Damn it, first Fred and now these bastards. He said angrily. Yuma. Explain how you're still alive. I saw how you were defeated. Halwarner. Just like Fred said, we had a second chance. She said smiling. Sona. If you're alive, it means that she said, sounding a little scared. Middled. If Sitri inherits, he is alive. She said maliciously. Saji. What do you mean by the? Then Drake began to speak. Drake. Ryu, you'd better prepare yourself because someone very powerful is approaching. Ryu. Who is Drake? But then something like a throne appeared in the sky and someone was sitting on it. When they saw who it was, they couldn't believe it. How long will the Gremory Agares and Sitri be together? Hineko. As if Ryu-senpai defeated you. Izami said nothing because she knew it wasn't Ryu who defeated him that time. Rias. Gabriel said in disbelief. Sona. Enough with the mysteries, now answer how you're alive. We defeated you that time with the Excalibur swords. She said seriously, looking at Gabriel. Gabriel. Fine, I'll tell you before you die. You never defeated us. You only defeated our mirror clones. He said arrogantly. Yuma. Mirror clones. Middled. So your empty head can't understand, when they were about to kill us, we used our ace in the hole to save ourselves. He said maliciously. Fred. In my case it's the same, I stole one of those spells from a fallen soldier and used it when you were about to kill me, Hyoudou Kiba. Looking at Kiba. Halwarner. That's how we survived. Now we can take revenge for everything they did to us. He said, creating his sword of light. Gabriel. Wait a minute, where is the third Hyoudou? He said, looking at Ryu and Izami. Ryu. I'm sorry to tell you that he's not here anymore. He must be dead in the deepest depths of purgatory. Gabriel. Really? He said, confused. Gabriel. Damn, I wanted to return all the blows she threw at me when she saved that nun. He said, looking at Asia. The others didn't understand because they knew that Max had saved Asia. Ryu. Don't lie, you bastard. I rescued her and defeated you. He said angrily. Asia. It's true, Ryu saved me. Fred. You really are a silly nun. He said maliciously. Zenobia. What do you mean? She said angrily. Honestly. The one who didn't save that nun was Rias Gremory's pawn, Hyoudou Issei. They couldn't believe what they were hearing, that the dead traitor Hyoudou Issei had saved Asia. Rias only felt a pain in her chest, just like Sona's Izami, who would only remain silent. Gabriel. I'm tired of waiting. It's time to kill the Gremory Agares and Sitri and thus begin a new war. He said, rising from his throne. Rias and Sona and their entourages would get into fighting stances for the battle. Middled. This is what happens to you for abandoning your comrades. Rainer creating a spear of light. Middled created a spear of light. She was standing somewhat apart from her companions and was about to throw it, but the sky turned green and suddenly a tornado formed, approaching and trapping Middled inside. Her companions were about to go and save her, but Gabriel told them not to. Fred just stood there, watching the tornado. Like the others, they were incredulous as they watched. They heard Middled's cries of pain. The tornado stopped and they saw something in the sky holding Middled. It was a kind of shadow with terrifying red eyes. Rias and Sona, upon seeing him, felt great fear. Their legs trembled because it was the shadow they had seen in their dream. Halwarner. Let go of Middled. Angry shout. Halwarner threw his spear of light at the shadow, but it caught it. Then they saw something that would shock them. Everyone saw how that shadow stabbed Middled's heart with the spear of light. Middled spat blood and then they saw a kind of energy ball that hit Middled's face. Anaseek. Don't do it. Shouted for him to stop. But it was too late. Middled was turned to dust. Her companions watched angrily as that shadow, Rias and Sona, and their entourage, like Fred, felt fear seeing how that thing killed Middled without remorse. The soundtrack begins. Halwarner. Damn it. She said angrily. Gabriel would begin to speak. Gabriel. Show yourself. Angry shout. The shadow would begin to reveal itself. From minute 322 to 331. Ignore the sphere and imagine Issei and his guy. The others were incredulous. There were 3 men in strange clothes and scary masks who started looking at Gabriel. Issei. It seems that the time has come because today is your last day, you disgusting fallen scum. He said, looking at Gabriel. End of soundtrack. End of chapter. Chapter 5. In the previous chapter. Issei. It seems that the time has come because today is your last day, you disgusting fallen one. He said, looking at Gabriel. Of you memory. Note. Same aspect as the one you chose. Because I couldn't, were the words that echoed in my head as I watched my secret love, the man I love, die burned alive in his room for an unknown reason. I just held back the tears, blaming myself for not saving him. I kept repeating in my head, I couldn't save the man I love. I still remember the first time I saw him when I left that room. Back then, I was afraid of my power, that it could hurt my loved ones. I missed those words. I thought Rias and her entourage were like that, but that changed. Only one of them was by my side and trusted me. He didn't care how many times I fell. He was always there for me, supporting me to make me stronger, to follow my dreams and goals. Everything I am is thanks to you, Issei. I was so shy, I even wore a bag over my head, but Ryu, he's just an idiot, an arrogant jerk, just like his sister Izumi. They said I was a burden, useless, just like Issei, my Issei. Even Rias and the others thought so. When I found out from their own mouths, I ran away. I heard they only wanted me for my sacred weapon. I couldn't believe it. I really had no one. I thought about killing myself, about ripping these damn pieces out, but then you came. You hugged me from behind, and I saw that smile, those eyes that said everything would be alright. I wanted to get away, but my heart said no, until I heard those words I'll never forget. Issei. I don't know what they said about you, but none of it is true. You are a special person, not because of your sacred gear or because you're a vampire. You are special just as you are, with your flaws and your virtues. Don't let anyone take away that beautiful smile of yours. Even if life takes everything from you, even if people make fun of you, even if the world is against you, I will be by your side. I'm not strong, I don't have great power, but I can listen to you, understand you. If you want to cry, I'll cry with you. If you smile, I'll smile with you. If you're sad, I'll comfort you. If great trials come later, I will always be there for you and I will say. You can do it because you are the bravest person I know. Just hearing those beautiful words made me cling to you. Every time I hugged you or felt you, my heart beat faster, my warmth increased, and I promised myself to be by your side and give you lots of love. But the day you said Yuma was your girlfriend, my heart broke into pieces. I just congratulated you. I wanted you to be happy. If you were happy, I was too, until one day I saw him. I saw that damned woman rolling around with Saji, one of Sona's entourage. They were where the sports equipment is stored. I also saw you. You were on your knees crying. I could only hear what they were saying to you. I wanted to kill them all, especially after that fool for playing with your feelings. I just watched those bastards leave and then I saw you running into the forest. I followed you. I wanted to reach you, hug you, and tell you that you had someone who loved you just the way you are. I wanted you to hear what my heart always kept hidden. That I loved you. Nothing else mattered, only what my heart felt for you. I wanted to be by your side, to always see that smile that conveyed tenderness, security, and love, to feel your lips. Every night I fantasized about us kissing, about us being a couple. But I saw you being attacked by rogue demons. When that rogue with the snake tail was about to kill you, I was going to rush forward to attack her, but you stopped her blow with your hand, and suddenly a golden aura surrounded you. I was hiding in a tree, watching that scene. I couldn't believe what I saw. Those eyes that conveyed love were now filled with fury. With a thirst for blood, I could only watch as you finished them off, and when you threw magic balls, one hit me and I crashed into a tree, knocking me unconscious. When I woke up, you were gone. I cried for not being able to help you. I tried to talk to you, but you just ignored me, just like you did with everyone. And when the day came that they transported you to Tartarus, after that I went to my box and cried all night. I was like that for 2 weeks. Months passed, and no one spoke your name. I noticed Izumi was acting strange, but it didn't matter because she was the cause of your suffering, your sadness. The others, like your parents and siblings, just looking at them made me want to beat them to a pulp. It was Saturday. We went to the academy to clean the locker rooms and the pool. When we were about to leave, fallen angels attacked us, and to my surprise, I saw Gabriel with Kalwarner, Donasek, and Fred. We prepared to fight, and the sky turned green, and out of nowhere, a tornado formed that caught the fallen middled, and from there came some kind of shadows that I killed very easily when she revealed herself. I had no words, she was someone with strange clothes, and that mask that gave chills. It didn't matter who she was, if she was a threat I would fight whoever it was and show everyone, the Cows Brigade, Rias and her stupid entourage, the leaders, everyone. That I no longer wanted to be a coward. Then Pav. Present. The soundtrack begins. The great silence fell over the place. Gabriel, the two fallen angels, glared angrily at the masked man. The other two, Fred, remained silent, as did Rias, Sona, and their entourages. The masked man began to look at Rias and Sona, and also at their entourages, and they felt fear. Then the masked man would look back at the fallen angels. Issei. Why the long faces? He said, looking at the fallen. Gabriel. Damned. Who are you? And why did you kill Middled? He said angrily. Kalwarner. Speak up, where is Middled? She said angrily. Issei. Isn't it obvious she's dead? I just killed a nuisance. He said maliciously. Donasek. You're lying. Gabriel. He's not lying. Middle's magic power completely disappeared. It literally turned her to ashes. He said seriously, looking at Dante. But the others? Sona. I don't feel it, the magic of that foal is gone, she said incredulously. Tsubaki. What is he? She said, frightened. Sona's entourage was just like Tsubaki. They wondered who that person behind the mask was, as well as who the other two were. Rias. Sona, those guys don't possess magic power or a sacred gear. She said, looking at Sona. Bekeno. But how could he kill her so easily? At that point, Drake, Tiamat and Vitra would speak in the form of a gauntlet. Drake. I recommend that you don't go near him. Ryu. Don't talk nonsense, Drake. Together we could beat him, or even me alone. Drake. You're the one who shouldn't be talking nonsense. Besides, don't you notice those guys are flying without wings? He said angrily. Ryu and the others would see the masked man again, and the other two, and it was true, he didn't have wings, and he was above the ground. Tiamat. Listen to Drake, something about them gives me a bad feeling. Izumi. What do you mean, Tiamat? Vitra. Just as the Gremory era said, I don't sense any magical power or sacred gear in them, but I still killed that fallen with great ease. Saji. But Ryu is right, Vitra, together we could beat them if they don't possess a sacred gear. Vitra. Saji, don't be stupid. Didn't you see how he killed that fallen one without magic power or sacred gear? He said angrily. Momo. So what on earth are they? She said, amazed. Rias. Kaneko, did you find any trace? She said, looking at Kaneko. Kaneko. No Rias senpai no hain I on rastro de poder magico. Sona. Listen, it's best not to interfere. It seems their target is Gabriel. She said seriously. Hiba. Where's Fred? Everyone noticed that Fred was missing and thought he had escaped, then they looked back at the masked man and the other two. But Issei and the fallen. Gabriel. Speak now, who are you? Issei. Sorry for not introducing myself. I am Black. The reason I am here is to finish you off. Zamasu. I am Zamasu. It's a pleasure to meet you, but it's best to leave that aside because you will no longer live to remember our names. Dark. I am Dark Dragon, Evil Emperor Dragon. Some were scared to hear Dark Dragon because he said Evil Emperor Dragon, and that was what frightened them. Gabriel. Ha, sorry if I laugh, but don't you notice they don't possess any magic power? He said maliciously. Issei. Ha, you're the blind one here because we don't need it, and look, I killed one of yours with ease, Gabriel. He said maliciously. Calwerner. How do you know Gabriel Sama from? Issei. That doesn't matter to you, Calwerner. Calwerner. What? She said, surprised. Gabriel. I don't care how you know about us, we just have to defeat them so they don't interfere with our plans. He said arrogantly. End of soundtrack. Issei. Then come and prove it. Gabriel. Calwerner, Donasik attack he didn't finish because he saw the aforementioned creatures moving at great speed. Calwerner. You'll pay for what happened to Middled. He said, creating a spear of light. Donasik did the same. Both attacked the masked man, but he easily dodged them and. Issei. How annoying. He said, holding the spears. Then Issei took the spears from the fallen and went to where Donasik was. He stabbed one of them in his chest and he spat blood. Then Issei aimed a Kai sphere at the same area. Issei. Goodbye forever. Then only the heart-rending scream of the fallen warrior could be heard as he rose into the sky through the energy sphere. Then Issei raised his hand and closed it into a fist. Boom 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 boom. An explosion occurred and when the smoke cleared, nothing remained of the fallen man. Everyone was frightened by how easily the masked man had killed him and then Calwerner began to attack. Calwerner. Damn you 1,000 times. He said, attacking the masked man. The masked man just dodged the attacks until Zamasu appeared and with a kind of purple energy sword in his hand, he cut off Calwerner's head. Everyone was surprised at how Zamasu killed that fallen one, just like the masked man without remorse, and the masked man began to look at Gabriel. Issei. It's your turn, Gabriel. Gabriel. Damn you. Angry shout as he lunges at the masked man. Gabriel attacked with great anger, but he didn't see the masked man disappear and reappear behind him, hitting him in the back with an energy sphere. Gabriel was sent flying into the forest and fell to the ground. There was an explosion. Everyone else assumed Gabriel was dead, but they sensed his magic power. It was weak, but he was still alive. The masked man only saw the place where Gabriel fell and then dodged the attack that came from someone who was hiding. Issei, it's rude to attack by surprise Fred. He said, looking at Fred. It was Fred pointing his gun at the masked man. Issei. If you want to die so badly, I'll gladly grant it to you. He said maliciously. Fred got into a fighting stance, but then Dark Dragon disappeared. The others searched with their eyes for where he had gone, and great was their surprise when they heard Fred scream. A. Everyone saw a dark dragon pierce Fred's chest with his fist. They were truly amazed and scared at the same time. Dark dragon. What good was it to revive so you could die again? But this time your death will be real. He said in a macabre voice. The masked man then took Fred's gun and pointed it at his head. Fred begged for mercy, but the masked man wouldn't listen and. That's what was heard. Fred was killed by his own gun. Fred's body fell to the ground. The masked man turned around to look directly at the spectators. Issei. Well, if it isn't the Gremory Agares and Sitri with their group of losers. He said, looking at them and staring intently at a certain vampire. Issei's thoughts. Everyone except you. Rias. Who are you and where do you know us from? She said seriously. Issei. As I told those fallen ones, I am black, my companions are Dark Dragon and Zamasu, and as I know them, that doesn't bother you, demon. Ryu. Damn it, how dare you speak to Rias like that? Issei. You think I'll listen to your threats, you disgusting dragon? Greg. I don't know who you are, but don't get too cocky. He said angrily. Issei. The one who shouldn't think he's so great is your Red Emperor holder, because without you that failure would be nothing, just a reincarnated demon, he said, pointing at Ryu. Besides, respect someone who can kill you. Sona. How do you know that? Talk about how you know so much about us. She said seriously. Issei. If you're so eager to know, I know everything about you, including those alliance leaders. I've always observed you from the shadows, your battles, your abilities. In short, I was a hidden spectator. He said, lying. Tsubaki. If you were watching us, then you work for the Chaos Brigade. She said seriously. Issei. You're wrong about that, Four Eyes. I don't care what those insects do. Tsubaki. How can we be sure you're not an enemy of the supernatural? Issei. I don't care what you think. I'm not the least bit interested in your pathetic lives. I only came to put those fallen angels and that exorcist in their place. He said seriously and looked at you. Saji. You're just a crazy loudmouth, I bet you're dying of fear inside to face us, he said arrogantly. Issei. As I told the Red Dragon Emperor, without Vitra you are nothing, just like Tiamat's wielder. He said, looking at Izumi. At that point, Vitra and Tiamat appear in the form of a gauntlet. Vitra. Saji, you'd better shut your mouth. He said angrily. Saji. Why Vitra? Can't you see that guy's crazy? Together we can defeat him. Tiamat. Vitra, silence your wielder. We warn you again not to confront him. Don't you realize that this subject is not normal at all? I don't sense any magical power in him, and I certainly don't think he belongs to a race like demons, angels, or yokai. It was true, everyone was looking seriously at the masked man because he was anything but normal, and it was the first time they had ever seen someone like him. Issei. Ha, you think you can defeat me? You're just a bunch of losers. Zenobia. Then try it, she said, summoning her Durandal. Issei. To a volunteer who follows. Everyone was preparing their magic powers and some were preparing their weapons. Ryu. Rias, let me take care of him. He said, looking at Rias. Rias. But Ryu. Saji. I too, Kaicho, will put that loudmouth in his place. He said, looking at Sona. Sona. Saji too, and she didn't finish speaking because she saw Ryu flying with a masked man. Bekeno. Ryu, come back. She said worriedly. Hineko. Ryu senpai. Izumi. Brother. Tiamat. That fool who thinks he's going to get himself killed. She said angrily. Everyone was looking at the masked man and Ryu and Saji were staring at each other. They were in the sky and Saji took out his wings and flew up next to Ryu. Izumi was about to go, but Tiamat stopped him. Tiamat. Don't even think about going, Izumi. Izumi. But Tiamat, I have to help my brother. She said, looking at the gauntlet. Tiamat. Listen to Izumi, let's just observe, and if they're in danger, you can go. Izumi. Okay. Everyone was watching Saji and Rei. Rei's girlfriends were somewhat worried, but they knew he would win. Momo and Raruko were supporting their boyfriend, and Yuma was another story. She no longer hung out with Saji because she found out that she was just a pastime for him. He only used her like an object. He never saw her with love like a certain brunette, and every night she regretted it and cried for having cheated on him. But this are Ryu and Saji. Ryu. You should feel honored because you will be defeated by the strongest Sekiryuutei in history. He said arrogantly. Saji. Get ready, he said, summoning his sacred weapon. Issei. Are they done yet? Said Bored. The aforementioned individuals would be silent in a fighting stance. Issei. Alright, it's time to have some fun. He said in a macabre voice. That's it. Issei Black launched a Kai sphere at Saji that hit him, and screaming in pain, he flew towards the academy building and created a huge explosion. Everyone Sona and her entourage. Saji. They shouted. Sona and her entourage went to help Saji. Rias and her entourage were amazed and worried about Ryu, except for you. Ryu. Damn it. He said angrily. Issei. Ah, the little dragon got angry. He said mockingly. Ryu. Balance breaker. He said, summoning his armor. Issei. Fence the balance breaker. Without warning, Issei proceeded to throw punches at Ryu. Ryu was having difficulty blocking the masked man's attacks and proceeded to attack as well. Ryu clasped his hands together and punched the masked man, sending him to the ground. The masked man landed on his feet and turned his gaze back to Ryu. Ryu. Dragon shot. Ryu launched his attack and formed a curtain of dust. Rias and her entourage thought Ryu had won. When the dust dispersed, they were greatly surprised to see the masked man as if nothing had happened. Issei. Ha incredible, so this is the power of the Red Dragon Emperor. Ryu. How is this possible? He said in amazement. Greg. I warned you, Ryu. He's not normal, and from what I can see, he's just toying with us. He doesn't fight seriously. He said angrily because, for him, this was a humiliation. Ryu. It doesn't matter, I just have to defeat him and that's it. He said angrily. But in that. Everyone saw the masked figure surrounded by a strange black aura, who then rose again, looking at Ryu. Issei. I ask you to show me the best of the best supernatural race. Issei launched himself at Ryu. As Ryu and Issei exchanged blows, Ryu couldn't withstand the masked man's attacks, and Issei took advantage, delivering a powerful punch to his stomach. He then grabbed Ryu by his armor and threw him in the opposite direction, where Dark Dragon appeared and delivered a powerful blow that he would never forget. Ryu fell to the ground and his armor wasn't activated. Rias and her entourage were worried, but he was only pretending because deep down he was happy that the masked man had defeated and humiliated him. Issei. Seriously, this is the strongest Sekiryuutei in history. He said mockingly, returning to the ground. Rias and her entourage stared seriously at the masked man. Sona and his entourage returned, but Saji was not there. Rias. Sona, how are you, Saji? She said, looking at Sona. Sona. She's in pretty bad shape. The blow she received caused her a lot of damage. She's at the student council, recovering. She said, looking at Rias. Rias. I understand, but now we have a big problem. Asia, go and heal Ryu. She said, looking at Asia. Asia. If Rias-sama. Asia was where Ryu was, a few meters away from the masked man. He was a little scared, but he mustered his courage and lifted Ryu up to take them to the others. Issei. And now without your dragons, what will you do? Didn't you say that all of you together could take me on? He said mockingly. Rias. Sona, we have to defeat him and take him to the leaders and get information out of him about what he knows. Sona. You don't have to tell me, guys. Get ready, don't let that guy breathe. Sona entourage. Hi. Rias. Come on guys, let's show him the power of the Gremories. Retinue of Rias. Hi. Rias. Sona and her entourage took a fighting stance, surrounding the masked man who didn't move a finger. Asia was away, healing Ryu. Issei. You guys never learn, do you? Rias. Sona. Attacking the order. All with their magic weapons and magical powers rushed at the masked man, but the masked man crouched down a little and crossed his arms. Issei. No matter what you do, not even in your dreams will you be able to defeat a god, he whispered the last part. He and his two other companions combined their not so powerful attacks and fired them, hitting everyone in the process. There was a huge explosion, and when it was over, everyone could be seen lying on the ground with many injuries, including Asia and Max, who were thrown into the air by the blast. The only one who survived was you. She was next to a tree, a little dizzy from what had happened. She wanted to get up, but she couldn't, and she saw the masked man slowly approaching. This made the vampire nervous and afraid. He was close to her, and she was crawling in fear. When her back hit the tree, the masked man formed a sphere of energy, pointing it at her. She didn't want to die, not like this, and tears of sadness streamed from her eyes. She knelt down, looking at the ground with tears in her eyes. You. Forgive me, Issei. Forgive me for not being strong, for not protecting you, for not defending you. But after I die, I'll be able to go to where you are and tell you how much I love you, and we'll be together. Then she looked up at the sky. Finally, I'll be able to be with the person who stole my heart, with my Issei. Laura had a tearful face with a smile. Issei's thought. You. Issei was holding back. He wanted to hug her, to tell her that he was the one behind the mask. In his heart, he admitted it. He too was in love with a vampire, but he had been blind to Yuma's supposed love. He thought he would never love again because of Yuma's deception, but upon seeing Laura, he felt his heart race. Yu only awaited her end, but her surprise came when the masked man withdrew his hand, the sphere disappearing, and walked away from her. He stopped and glanced at her out of the corner of his eye. "You. Why didn't you kill me?" The masked man was just silent, and then he spoke. "Issei. Tell your teammates to fight seriously in the next round when they recover," he said, walking. Yu received no answer to his question and watched as the masked man flew away like the other two. He saw his companions still on the ground. Then two magic circles appeared and Sirzechs and Seraphil emerged from them. "Searches? But what happened here?" "Sister Rias, snap out of it," he said, beside Rias, shaking her. "Rias? Oni-sama," she said with difficulty. "Seraphil. Soda-chan, what happened?" she said with Sona in her arms. "Sona. For now, take them to get us healed and we'll tell you everything, but the other leaders need to know," she said seriously. Sirzechs. "Very well, Sitri, Agares, and I will tell you who the bastard was who did this to my sister Rias so I can give him what he deserves," he said with a vein throbbing in his forehead. Afterwards, everyone got up with difficulty. Momo and Raruko went to find Saji. Yuma told Sirzechs that Gabriel was in the forest. Sirzechs didn't believe him, but when he went to check, he saw Gabriel unconscious. This surprised him. He couldn't believe he was alive and carried him like a sack of potatoes. When they reunited, they formed a magic circle where they would take him to the underworld. Everything was seen by a certain masked figure who was very high in the sky watching them, but his gaze was most drawn to the vampire. Issei. "You, even though I've become a cold person and have no remorse when killing an enemy, I would never hurt you because I love you and I won't allow others to hurt you," he said in his voice. "Issei. I don't like this bad feeling I have. I feel like something's going to happen in the underworld. I'll have to go and observe from afar so as not to attract attention. Even though I don't like seeing their faces again, I'll do it for you," he said, looking at Laura. Issei watched as they retreated to the underworld, but not before repairing the academy as if nothing had happened. "Issei. Where is it?" he said with his two fingers on his forehead. "There it is." Issei disappeared using teleportation, heading towards the underworld. "I hope you liked it. Don't forget to support the story and vote. One thing I didn't mention is that Yuma is part of Ria's entourage. I apologize for not mentioning it. Without further ado, I'll say goodbye and see you in the next chapter. The truth is revealed." Chapter 6. Revealed Truth. In the underworld after what happened at Kuoh Academy, everyone is in a meeting room. There were the leaders of the alliance, Rias, Sona and their retinues who had already recovered, as well as Valerie's team, along with Office and the Hyoudou parents. "Auden. Well, Sirzechs, why did you call us to this emergency meeting?" he said seriously. "Sirzechs. We called you because my sister and Sona told us that 3 strange individuals appeared at Kuoh Academy who could be a threat to the supernatural world," he said seriously. "Auden. And could you tell us what the Gremory heiress was like?" he said, looking at Rias. "Rias. If it was someone wearing strange fighting clothes and a mask to hide their face and said their name was Black, the others were different. One had the same armor as Ryu, but it was black with red gems, and the other wore very strange black and grey clothes with red parts," she said, looking at Auden. "Auden. I see. And what happened?" "Sona. Not only did he appear, but to our surprise, Gabriel appeared alongside 3 fallen angels named Middled, Calwerner Donasek, and the exorcist Fred. Everyone was surprised by what Sona said. "Irina. Sona-san, it's impossible. They can't be alive," she said seriously. "Sona. No, unfortunately, when we fought them we didn't kill them. They used their trick to survive." "Azazel. What do you mean, Sona-san?" "Sona. You'll see, we'll show you everything that happened at the academy." "Rias, do it," she said, looking at Ria. "Rias. Okay." Rias then used a spell to show that they were returning from cleaning the pool and were attacked by an army of rogue fallen angels whom she easily defeated. The leaders and those present were surprised to see Gabriel Calwerner, Middle Donasek and Fred, who revealed that they had used their last resort to survive. They then saw Middle about to attack, but a tornado suddenly appeared and trapped her. They saw a shadowy figure that killed her, and when it was revealed, those present were astonished to see a man with a mask that concealed his face. The other two, one of whom didn't hide his face, but the other did with his helmet, easily killed 2 of the fallen angels, Fred and Gabriel, sending him crashing into the forest. The leaders considered searching for him to recruit him, but changed their minds when he faced Ryu and Saji. However, Office caught his attention with what he said. "Masked while fighting with Ryu, hahaha incredible, so this is the power of the Red Dragon Emperor." Then they saw that he defeated Ryu with ease, and Rias and Sona and their retinues formed a huge explosion. Then Rias undid the spell. The leaders and those present were speechless. "Azazel. What were those techniques? He said curiously. Yuma. We don't know Azazel because we didn't sense his magic power. Sona. He also confessed that he has not been watching from the shadows. Serafal. If that's true, then he works for Rias. Sona. No, one Sama, when we asked him he denied it, saying he wasn't interested. Valerie. Jump, interesting. I can't wait to fight that black guy and show him the power of the strongest Hakuiuku in history. She said with a confident smile. Valerie's appearance. Then Drake speaks in the form of a gauntlet. Drake. Albion, I recommend you tell your wielder not to confront him. The divide diving appeared and says. Albion. And why Drake? He said curiously. Drake. That man called Black is not normal. Albion, with just a few blows, was able to defeat Max and the Vitra wielder. If you face him, the same thing will happen. We don't know much about when we saw him, but I'm sure of one thing. Someone appeared with monstrous power that could match Trihiksa. The other two showed almost nothing of their abilities, but I'm sure of one thing. The one who had the same armor as mine is more powerful than the other two. Everyone felt fear upon hearing that. Some were even praying in their minds that he wasn't an enemy. At that moment, some guards enter. Guard 1. Sir Sirzechs, the prisoner is ready. Sirzechs. Good, bring it, he said, giving the order. Everyone was confused about who the guards were bringing in, except for Rias Sona and her entourage. The door opened and the guards came out, surrounding a person chained with special chains, so that he couldn't use his power. Everyone knew him and they were surprised. Azazel. Gabriel. Gabriel. Wow, there are a lot of familiar faces. Irina. It can't be, you were dead. Gabriel. Let's just say I had my last chance to survive. Miguel. Explain yourself. Gabriel. He won't tell the leaders anything. Isaka. Speaker, we will force you to speak. Gabriel. Ah, leaders always using force to humiliate other people, just like they did to the brother of those two. Bajuka. How do you know that? Gabriel. I found out from the guards that Hyoudou Issei is dead and I was going to send him to Tartarus to rot there, but now that he's dead it's impossible. Poor kid, you know how stupid you were, you lost someone with so much potential. Serafal. You're wrong, he was found guilty of joining the Chaos Brigade and was just a hindrance. Gabriel. How stupid, I don't understand why you're a Mao. Azazel. Answer. Gabriel. Do you seriously think that guy over there beat me? Everyone was incredulous and Gabriel spoke again. Gabriel. Judging by their faces, I can see they don't know. Auden. Know what? Gabriel. It was Hyoudou Issei who defeated me and saved that nun, he said, looking at Asia in return, those two are the truly useless ones. The one who gave me a good fight was Hyoudou Issei. Everyone was speechless at what Gabriel was saying. Ryu started to get nervous and Izumi just stood with her head down. Asia. That's a lie, Ryu saved me. Asia had a sad face. She didn't want to believe what Gabriel was saying. Gabriel. How many times do I have to say it? None. He saved you, huh? Did you really think Ryu Hyoudou saved you? And I don't understand how the Red Dragon Emperor put up with that loser for so long. He said with a mocking smile. Rias. Ryu, that's true. She said, looking at Ryu with a sad face. Ryu didn't respond, he didn't know what to do. Then Izumi got up from her seat. Rias. Izumi, she said, looking at Izumi. Izumi. Listen, there's something you need to know. She said, her hair covering her eyes. Ryu gets up and grabs Izumi's arm. Ryu. Izumi, stop. Izumi slips out of Ryu's grip. Izumi. No more, Ryu. I'm not going to keep lying anymore. She said, tears welling up in her eyes. Sirzechs. What do you mean, Izumi Hyoudou, that they hid from us? He said seriously. Izumi. What Issei? Ryu. No Izumi. Auden. Speak, brat. Izumi. Issei. Ryu. I won't let you. Ryu was about to punch Izumi, which surprised his parents and everyone present, but Max stopped because he felt his body wasn't responding. He fell to the ground and tried to get up, but he couldn't. Ryu. What's happening? Suddenly Drake would begin to speak. Drake. No more. I'm not going to put up with your stupidity anymore, you bastard. Office. What's wrong, Drake? Drake. Listen everyone, this bastard always lied to you, along with his sister. He never devised those strategies, and whoever achieved those victories in past battles was always Hyoudou Issei. Everyone who heard what Drake said couldn't believe it. All this time they had been deceived by lies. Ryu. That's not true. With difficulty. Drake. You think I'm a liar? I'm not like you. Searches. Drake, is that true? Drake. Yes, it's true, and I will show you the truth about the Hyoudou brothers, Tiamat. He said, calling Tiamat. Izumi's gauntlet would come out. Tiamat. I'm proud, comrade, and I'm sorry for what I'm about to do. Izumi. Just do it, Tiamat. Drag and Tiamat created a hologram that displayed all of Izumi and Ryu's memories from childhood. They saw how they beat young Issei, lied to his parents about things he didn't do, and spread lies about him in elementary school and Kuoh Academy, calling him a pervert and useless. They saw Ryu stealing gifts Issei made for the Gremory girls Gabriel, Ingvald, Serafal, Elmenhilden, Yasaka, Kanu, Kuroka, and Arena Office and stealing all the credit for Issei's battle strategies. They even saw them ordering the murder of Izumi's own sister to make Issei suffer, which was the reason for his death so he could be reunited with her. Or so a note Izumi found in her room said. Izumi claimed Ryu was responsible for everything, and then the recording ended. Everyone was speechless after seeing the recording. Sirzechs. Tell me, you too, is everything we saw true? Izumi Ryu. Dreg. What you saw is true. These two like to see the boy suffer since they were children. My pride as a celestial dragon is in tatters, and all because of this wretch. Everyone raised their auras upon hearing what Dreg said. Serafal. So it was always Issei who bought those gifts and not him, she said tearfully, pointing at Ryu. Tiamat. It's true, Mao Leviathan, he always loved them, he never saw them as pieces of meat like the wielder of Dreg, and it's too late to remedy that. Rias. So Issei always. Everyone was silent upon learning that Issei was the true hero, and he stayed with them despite how they treated him. Meanwhile, the other girls didn't know how to react. Some were crying, others had a lost look in their eyes, their light gone. And Mr. and Mrs. Hyoudou didn't know what to think. Their son and daughter had lied to their faces, blaming their other son, who always achieved victories, and now he was dead. They had also killed their other sister just to see him suffer. The Gabriel. Well, what a sight my eyes are seeing. How I wish I had my juice and popcorn. He said mockingly. Yuma. Shut up, she said with tears. At that moment, Izumi walked towards Yuma with her hair covering her eyes as she stood in front of her. Yuma. What's wrong, Izumi? Izumi. Since we're in a truth contest now, tell me what that mark you're hiding is. Yuma. I don't know what brand you're talking about, she said nervously. Izumi. Don't lie, you damn slut. Shouted furiously. Izumi lunged at Yuma. The others tried to stop her, but Izumi removed Yuma's academy shirt and what they saw left him speechless. A dragon mark located in the center of Yuma's breasts. Valerie. That's a dragon mark. She said, surprised. Office. And it's from. Valerie's wings would appear. Albion. There's no doubt that brand is from Vitra. Upon hearing this, the others looked at Saji, Momo, and Raruko. They didn't know what to think. Saji was nervous and wanted to leave, but he felt his body weigh more than usual and fell to the ground. Vitra would emerge in a gauntlet. Vitra. I warned you, Saji, that the truth would come out sooner or later. Momo. What's the truth, Vitra-san? Vitra. That Saji had relations with the fallen angel Rainer, and this was the result, she was marked, and the worst part is that the fallen angel did it when she was Issei Hyoudu's partner. Momo and Raruko were walking along Saji Vitra. She knew what was going to happen and didn't put much weight on her body. Momo would take Saji's shirt and slap him, just like Momo. Momo. Kaichu, I need to go get some fresh air. Raruko. Me too, Kaichu with empty eyes. Sona. Go, but have some guards escort you. She said worriedly. Momo and Raruko would leave the room with 2 guards. Sona. Saji, is it true? She said in a deathly voice. Saji. Kaichu, I said nervously. Bertra. It's true, Sitri he had secret relations with that fallen one, and the worst part is that they rubbed it in Issei Hyoudu's face. Izumi just stared at Yuma with a very angry face. Ryu was surprised. Office. Vitra, you know very well that the laws of dragons state that one dragon cannot steal another's mate. She said seriously. Vitra. I know that, Office, but he wasn't listening to me. He did it for fun, to see the boy suffer. Saji. Why, Vitra? He said with difficulty. Vitra. And you still ask, you damn womanizer. But I'll tell you this, and let it sink in. I will never accept that fallen woman as the dragon's partner. Vitra said angrily. Everyone was speechless. Some looked at Yuma with disgust, others with anger. Yuma. Damn Izumi, how could she interrupted? Izumi. I knew because I asked Tiamat why your aura changed, and when she told me about the mark and explained it, you have no idea how disgusted I felt for you, Yuma. And from that day on, I hated you for playing with Issei Nai-san's feelings. She said angrily. Yuma. I'm just. Izumi. Don't say you're sorry because I remind you that you stabbed my brother with your spear when you first met. She said furiously, remembering him. Yuma would only leave the meeting in tears. Office. And what will you do now, Vitra? Vitra. As I said, Office, I will not accept that fall, even if it bears my mark. I will only stay with Saji until the problems with that man called Black, Zamasu, Dark Dragon, and the Chaos Brigade are over. And when that happens, I ask that you release me from Saji so I can find another bear. Office. Of course, no problem. And you, Dragon Tiamat. Drag. The same as Vitra office. Tiamat. I will test my wielder to see if she is worthy of me continuing with her. Office. Okay. Gabriel. Ha, I never thought Rainer would turn out to be such a slutty bore. He said mockingly. Just as they were about to speak, not very close to the salt, a magic circle appeared and out of it came the person who was responsible for all the problems of the supernatural world. Searches. What are you doing here, Rizavam? Rizavam. This is how you welcome your guests, Siskin. Michael. Speaks Rizavam. Rizavam. I just came to see your suffering faces. Did you already find out about Hyoudou Issei? Auden. What do you mean? Rizavam. That Issei Hyoudou was never a traitor. They were speechless when they heard that. Searches. You're lying, there was a recording of him joining you. Rizavam. I can't believe that the great leaders believed that recording that was made by me, he said arrogantly. Gabriel, no Issei. Rizavam. What makes me laugh the most is that the purest angels believed it, especially you, the purest seraph in heaven. Irina. Don't insult Gabriel. She said angrily. Rizavam. I'm just telling the truth, she has the ability to read hearts and she didn't do it with Issei Hyoudou. Gabriel would just keep me quiet because it was true. Rizavam. I've only come to give you a gift. One of our scientists teleported monsters from Tartarus to one of our bases and found something in a monster's mouth that you might like. He said with a sadistic smile. From a magic circle, Rizavam would pull out a red shirt that was damaged and had blood in some parts. The others were just frozen, not saying a word. The girls, the parents and Izami were just crying because they knew who that shirt belonged to. Laura, on the other hand, her eyes lost their shine and she slowly got up. Rizavam. This is my gift, leaders, because now without your true hero, I have a clear path, ha 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 ha. He went to Tartarus to die in a place he at least wanted to be, and now that he's dead, he's left this path for me, ha 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 ha. You are nothing without him. Laugh sadistically. Rizavam threw Issei's shirt to the ground and left through a magic circle. The girls went after Issei's shirt, but the fastest was a vampire who took the shirt in her arms, her eyes covered by her hair, then walked towards the door. You. I'm going to my box and don't bother me. Said a somber voice. You left the meeting room. There was a silence when Laura left, then the leader of the angels spoke. Michael. It's best to go and rest. That was too many revelations for one day. Searches. Well, the meeting has ended. Guards, take Gabriel to Mausirafal's prison. Guardian. If Searches Sama. Gabriel. I must admit I had a lot of fun at this meeting. The guards would only leave with Gabriel. The others would go to their territory through magic circles. Ryu and Saji no longer felt the weight on their bodies. Saji left with Sona and her companions to look for Momo and Ruruku. Those who stayed were Rias and her entourage with the Hyoudou lords. Akeno. We'll leave without you. Rias. She said she'd be in her box. She said sadly. Ryu. Rias. Rias. I don't want to hear from you and don't call me Rias. I'm the president of the Occult Research Club. And the Gremory heiress. She said, covering her eyes with her hair. Rias. We'll talk later, let's go. Rias and her entourage, along with the Hyoudou family, left through a magic circle, leaving the room empty. With you. You lied about going to his box. Now he's in the underworld forest, looking at the river. He had Issei's shirt in his arms and several tears were coming out of his eyes as he remembered a certain brunette. He just had a lost look, but. You? Og. You felt something on his neck and saw that it was a collar. He knelt down, unable to use his power to free himself, and Issei's shirt fell to the ground. Ahaha, it worked. But aim. About 15 rogue demons emerged from the trees. Demon 1. With the vampire Rizavam Sama will give us a good payment. You. Do you work for Rizavam? She said with difficulty. Demon 2. That's right, and we'll take you to one of our bases because Rizavam Sama will put your magic power to good use. Demon 3. Before we take her, how about we have a little fun with her? Demon 1. The others agree. The other demons just nodded and Yu struggled to free herself from the collar. She didn't want to lose her virginity, she just wanted to give it to a certain chestnut-haired man, but he was already dead. Demon 2. Don't strain yourself, that necklace prevents me from using your magic powers. Now let's have some fun. The demons approached Gasper with a decidedly unholy expression. You. No, please. She said, tears welling up. Demon 3. Don't worry, you'll enjoy it when you're inside. You. Please, someone help me. You just cried, hoping someone would save her. The demons were all around Laura. One was going to touch Laura's breasts, but… Don't you dare touch her. The demon stopped at the scream and saw a shadow in the sky. It had a kind of purple sword that was approaching at great speed. When it was close to them, it disappeared, and so did Laura. The demons felt great pain and fell dead because their heads flew off their bodies. Only one demon remained. Demon 1. But what happened? Demon 1. Where is the vampire? The demon looked around and fixed his gaze on the sky and saw someone holding the vampire in their arms. Yu began to open his eyes and was surprised to see the masked man he met at the academy, whose name was Black. Issei. How dare they want to defile my Yu? Yu blushed at Black's words, but she didn't pay attention to what he said because she felt familiar in his arms. They were warm, just like a certain brunette, and she noticed he had her shirt in his arms. Demon 1. Who are you? Return it before I take it to Rizevum-sama. I'll have fun with it. Issei. I was going to let you go, but by saying that you've already signed your death warrant. He said angrily. Demon 1. What? You saw Black raise his hand and… Issei. The Big Bang attack. Demon 1. What is that? No. Only the demon's screams could be heard, and then there was a huge explosion. You just stared in amazement at Black's display of power and saw him place his fingers on his forehead. Issei. I know you have a lot of questions, but we'll talk somewhere else. He said, looking at you. You would just nod and… Issei. Now. Using teleportation, they disappeared from the place without a trace. Human World, Tokyo City. In the Issei department. In that room appeared a man with a mask who carried a vampire in his arms. The man would only put the vampire down. The sitter on his bed. The vampire was nervous and saw the masked man take the necklace from around her neck. Issei. Don't worry, I'll just take this off. You. Okay. Issei would only break the necklace, which surprised you. Issei. Ready, how are you feeling? You didn't respond, her head was down, and without warning she got up from the bed and raised her fist, intending to hit Black in the face, but was stopped because Black blocked her fist with the palm of his hand. Issei. Don't worry, I have no intention of hurting you. You. I don't believe you. If you want to kill me, do it. I don't care anymore. Issei. I already told you I won't do it. You. And I don't believe you. I have no one and I couldn't save the man I love. Issei. Did you forget, you? You. Forget what? Issei. If you want to cry, I'll cry with you. If you smile, I'll smile with you. If you're sad, I'll comfort you. And if great trials come later, I'll be there for you and tell you, you can do it, you, because you're the bravest person I know. You. How do you know that? Issei. I'm glad you didn't forget, you. You? What? No, it can't be. She said incredulously. You sat back down on the bed next to Black. They stared at each other and you raised his trembling hands, touching Black's mask. He slowly removed it and when he had it completely off, he held it in his hands and fell silent in astonishment. Tears streamed from his eyes. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Issei. It's been a while, you. You. Issei said with tears. Issei. It's good to see you again, you. You look even more beautiful. He said, smiling. You. Issei crying through tears. You lunged forward, hugging Issei. They fell to the ground. You just cried tears of joy at seeing the person she loved alive. Then you got up and sat on the bed and Issei sat on the bed. You hugged Issei again. You. How are you alive? I thought you weren't coming back. Please forgive me for not defending you when they were torturing you. He said with tears in his eyes. Issei. You, I have nothing to forgive you for. He said, hugging you. You. But how did you get out and why did your hair and eyes turn black? Why are you so strong and how did you get this apartment? She said, looking at Issei. Issei. Wow, don't worry, I'll tell you everything from the beginning. The eye broke away from the hug and turned her attention to Issei. Issei. This will take a while. Then Issei would tell Laura about when he discovered that his brothers had sent someone to kill his younger sister and about Lilith, whose relationship with him was slowly improving. He would explain how he unleashed his hidden power, becoming a very powerful dragon, and how he spoke in his mind with his true father and his two masters. He was impressed to learn that her love was the son of an extremely powerful deity, that his masters were gods from another universe, and about the tournament of power. She learned that the universe they were in was Universe 10, and that there was a god of destruction superior to all beings in their world. She also learned that he went to train in Purgatory for 3 years, where he managed to achieve powers beyond this world, and that he enrolled in Shadow Academy in Tokyo to start a new life. Issei. And that would be all. You. So now, Issei, you're a dragon god. Issei. Not entirely, but I still have more to learn. You. It's hard to accept that there are more universes out there. Issei. I was like that when Black Sensei told me. You. But Issei, you said your master killed many humans in his universe and committed many crimes. Are you going to do the same? Issei. No I won't do that. Black Sensei may have committed several crimes in the past, but when he arrived here he had a different concept of humans. You. I'm glad to hear that. She said, relieved. You. And what transformation did you get, Issei? Issei. As the Super Saiyan transformation. You. Saiyan. Issei. You'll see, Laura, the Saiyans. So Issei began to explain that his master was a Saiyan and explained that Saiyans are a race of warriors and when they experience negative emotions like anger, they transform into a Super Saiyan, changing their hair color to gold. You. So now you're a Saiyan. Issei. If, like Black Sensei and Zamasu Sensei, they fused their souls with mine, now I am a complete Saiyan. You. I see. Then you hugged Issei, which surprised him. You. You have no idea how happy I am that you're alive. Issei. I promised you, didn't I? That I'll always be there for you. You. But hey, why did you go and cause a commotion at the academy? Issei. That's because of Gabriel and the others. They were going to do their thing. You would only raise an eyebrow. Issei. Well, I also wanted to have some fun with the others by humiliating them. Then you gives him a whack on the head. Issei. Oh you rubbing head. You. That was for trying to kill me. Issei. I'm sorry, I had to hide my identity, but it was worth it. You? Why? Issei. Because I could hear you say how much you love me. You? I don't know what you're talking about. She said, blushing. Issei. Haha, I like it when you blush. You would just look the other way. Issei. How blind I was. You? Why Issei? Issei. I was blind, believing that Yuma loved me, and I never realized a person who was always by my side and loved me just as I was. He said, tears welling up in his eyes. At that moment, you hugged him again. Laura. No, Issei, you didn't deserve what that bitch and the other girls did to you, but you still have someone who loves you. Issei. You. It didn't end because I kissed him. Issei was surprised but returned the kiss. They went from an inexperienced kiss to a more passionate one where they explored each other's bodies. They separated, breaking the kiss and leaving a trail of saliva. Issei. You. Issei, I've always been in love with you, but I never had the courage because I thought you'd never accept a girl with a child's body and small breasts. She said with her head down. But to her surprise, Issei kissed her unexpectedly. It was a kiss that conveyed love and affection. Issei. You fool, I don't just look at women's breasts, I also look at their qualities. This made her blush and a tear began to fall. Issei. I don't care how big Rias, Akeno or Yuma's breasts are. Laura, just the way you are, you're prettier than all of them, and that's why I love you and will protect you. No matter who I face, I'll protect that beautiful smile. I'll take care of you with my own life if necessary. So, Laura, would you accept being the girlfriend of this foolish and clumsy Saiyan? You. Issei. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. He said worriedly. You. That's not it, Baka. I'm happy that you reciprocate my feelings. When you went to Tartarus, I felt devastated. I thought I would lose you. Issei. And you won't lose me, you. He said, stroking her head. I? Seriously? She said, looking at him. Issei. I promise you, I never break my promises. He said, smiling at her with a smile that conveyed love and affection. You. I love you, Issei. I love you with all my being. She said, crying tears of joy. Issei. And I love you, you. Then Issei kissed you. It was a kiss filled with all the feelings he had for her, the person who had always been with him, and he didn't care if she had a sacred gear. You only returned the kiss of his secret love, the person who stole his heart because of how kind he was, a person who helped others without receiving anything in return, and who didn't see women as pieces of meat or trophies like his loutish brother. He promised himself that he would mend his heart, wounded by the girls who rejected and humiliated him, and by Yuma's deception, with the help of Lilith, who was on a separate mission from continuing her training. Issei was only happy because he had another reason to fight, and that was you, the woman who loved him just as he was in the past and as he is now. He promised himself to make her happy and always see her smile, just like Lilith. They both separated and looked at each other. You. I love you, my Saiyan. Issei. And I love you too, my vampire princess, he said with love and affection. They kissed again with all the love they had for each other. In the apartment window, the moon of the human world illuminated the couple with its light and witnessed the union of these two people. One soul that suffered greatly, enduring mistreatment, humiliation, deceit, and rejection. And the other soul that was willing to heal all its wounds, support it on its path, fight by its side, and give it much love. Chapter 7. The sun began to rise, and several people from the city of Kuoh began to get up to go to their jobs or to study, but in the mansion everything was silent. No one left their rooms. Before, the mansion was a place of happiness, but now it is a place of sadness and regret. The reason is simple. After the meeting in the underworld, Ryu's partners Rias, Asia Argento, Akeno, Gabriel, Yasaka, Kunu, Zenovia, Roswis, Ingvald, Kaneko, Kuroka, Irina Shido, and Serafal ended their relationships with him after seeing his true face, because Ryu was the real pervert and arrogant one who only saw them as trophies. Ryu, on the other hand, felt a lot of anger, cursing his brother in his mind. Despite being dead, he lost everything because of him. Izumi, on the other hand, felt that the guilt no longer tormented her, but she thought that wouldn't change anything because her brother was dead and she just cried. She was sorry. Mr. and Mrs. Hyoudou cried all night looking at the picture of their third child and regretted not giving them the love of a family. Ryu's ex-girlfriends were the same because they let themselves be manipulated by simple lies and didn't give a certain brunette a chance to get to know him. Despite having rejected him in the worst way, he was always there for them and never looked at them as pieces of meat. But a door to a room in the mansion opened. It was a girl with crimson red hair and it was none other than Rias Gremory, who was heading to another room. When she was in front of the door, she opened it and entered. What room was she in? It was Issei Hyoudou's old room. Upon entering, she saw that there was a bit of dust since no one had cleaned. Rias sat on Issei's bed, grabbed a pillow, hugged it and smelled Issei's scent, which was still there, a very warm aroma. Then she looked around the room. It wasn't different from the others, except that there were fewer things. She put the pillow back on the bed and went to a desk where she saw a notebook. Curious, she opened it, but what it contained devastated her. Issei's diary. There were little notes in it, recipe notes for Kaneko and plans for dates. She kept reading and saw a title that said, "For Rias." Turning the page, she saw it was a song for her, and as she read it, tears welled up in her eyes, and she regretted everything. The song was titled, "You're My Princess." As she finished reading, a loud cry echoed through the mansion. Everyone jumped up at the sound of the heart-wrenching scream and looked toward a specific room, Issei's room. They were about to enter, but suddenly the door slammed shut. Rias was responsible. She had used a spell to create a barrier. Everyone pounded on the door, calling out, "Rias, what happened?" "But you. Rias-senpai." Inside the room, Rias was on her knees, tears streaming down her face, clutching the diary to her chest. She stood up, placed the diary on the desk, and went to Issei's closet. When she opened it, she saw that there weren't many clothes. She grabbed one of Issei's shirts and undressed, taking off her nightshirt and putting it on. Then she went to Issei's bed and lay down, hugging her pillow with a sad expression, beginning to remember a certain brown-haired boy and how he had unjustly ordered the attack on him. "Rias? How could I have been so stupid? Sniff, the man who once loved me died. Sniff," she said, crying. Rias stayed in Issei's room. The others, seeing that she didn't respond, withdrew and decided to leave her alone. Tokyo City, Issei's department. The sun also flooded his apartment. Issei was sleeping embraced next to you. The sun's rays reached Issei's face, causing him to wake up. He felt weight on top of him. When he saw who it was, he just smiled with happiness upon seeing a certain vampire who was now his girlfriend and hugged her tighter. When she did, Yu woke up still sleepy. When she was fully awake, she looked at Issei, who had a smile on his face, and his eyes reflected love and affection. Yu just smiles and leans in to give him a kiss. Yu. "Good morning, Issei." Issei. "Good morning, my princess." Causing Yu to turn as red as a tomato. Yu. "Muo, I already told you not to call me that, it embarrasses me." Issei. "Hahaha, it's something I can't promise, my princess." Yu. "You're hopeless, but that's one of the qualities I love about you, my Saiyan dragon," she said, smiling. Yu kissed Issei and he reciprocated. A few minutes later. In the apartment's dining room, Issei and Yu were having breakfast, which the dark-haired man had prepared. The atmosphere was calm and relaxing, and there was a silence, but not an uncomfortable one. On the contrary, they were simply smiling lovingly at each other until Laura spoke. Yu. "Issei, what will you do about the factions?" Issei. "Why the question?" Yu. "Well, aren't you afraid they'll attack you or try to take you by force? Because with the power you demonstrated at the academy, they'll surely want to take you by force." Issei. "Don't worry about that, my princess. Just as you said, I demonstrated all my power, which they probably think I used." Yu. "What do you mean?" she said curiously. Issei. "That demonstration at the academy wasn't even half of my power, just like my clones." Yu. "What? Clones?" Issei. "You see, Yu, in my base form I can defeat everyone, including the leaders, without problems, but transformed into a Super Saiyan, my power increases even more than in my base form. My clones are like my masters and they have power similar to or greater than mine, but using my dragon power, I am much stronger than them. If they are damaged, it will only make them stronger than before. Yu was simply impressed by what Issei had said. Issei. And that's not all, I also have 2 more transformations that could give Officer the Great Red a run for their money. You? What? Issei. You. I'm sorry Issei, but you surprised me. Tell me, what are your transformations like? Issei. Well, to make it easier for you to understand, when I transform into a Super Saiyan, my hair changes to a golden color and my eyes also turn green. My second transformation is Super Saiyan Phase 2 and my last transformation is Super Saiyan Phase 3, but it's very different. Laura. Why Issei? Issei. Because my hair grows longer until it reaches below my waist and my eyebrows disappear. Yu's eyes lit up with tenderness and stars at the revelation. Upon seeing his partner's face, Issei would only produce a single anime-style drop of sweat. You. Edu, she said embarrassed, moving her fingers in the Hinata style. Issei. Hahaha, and those are my transformations, but my main goal is to achieve Super Saiyan Rose and Blue. You. Super Saiyan Rose and Blue? Issei. Super Saiyan Rose is a transformation that is very different from the previous ones. You. And what difference does it make? Issei. To reach him, I first have to transform into a Super Saiyan God. Laura. Issei, up to what level do the Saiyan reach? Issei. Saiyans have no limits. The more they fight, the stronger they become. That's why they're called a warrior race. Yu was shocked and couldn't say a word about what her partner had said. Yu. But Issei, if the other supernatural beings find out, they'll see you as an enemy or a threat. She said worriedly. Issei. You, he said, getting up. Issei stood up from his seat, knelt down, and hugged him. Issei. Don't worry about that. If they try to hurt me or you, I'll kill them without any mercy. He said the last part in Black's voice. You. Issei, your personality has changed a lot, not only in terms of power, but also in your personality, she said, hugging him. Issei. What do you mean? He said doubtfully, looking at her. You. Your kind and caring side is still there, that makes me happy, but when you fight you change completely, and not only that, you're also cold to others and only show your affection to people who truly deserve it, he said smiling. Issei. But it's good to change, isn't it? You. But at least you're still the man who stole my heart, she said, placing her hand on Issei's chest. Issei. You, he said, touching her cheek and then kissing her. After that they continued having breakfast after finishing and washing the dishes. Afterwards, Issei and Yu discussed the topic of the factions. Issei recommended that Yu stay in Ria's entourage and return to Kuoh. Yu disliked the idea, but Issei explained that this way they would be able to communicate and that Yu could report the movements of the factions to Issei. Understanding the situation, Yu had to accept, but she was saddened by the thought of them separating again. However, Issei told her not to worry, that he would always be with her. Yu then asked Issei to show her his transformation before he left, and Issei readily agreed. Before Yu left again, Issei gave Laura a tour of Tokyo. Outside the building, walking hand in hand, the couple attracted the attention of others. Some boys looked at Yu with lustful eyes, others with tender eyes. Of course, Issei, noticing this, glared at the men with a death stare, frightening them. Yu, realizing this, hugged Issei, looking at him with loving and affectionate eyes, so that he would understand that he was the only man she loved. But he wasn't the only one, because Yu noticed the lustful and perverted looks the women were giving Issei, but he had to share it with Lilith, who was still training in Tartarus. To stop the women from staring, Yu stops Issei, takes his face in her hands, and kisses him in front of everyone. Issei was surprised but returned his girlfriend's kiss. The men watched the scene with jealousy, and the women were equally envious of seeing a young girl with such an attractive, well-built man. The couple just continued on their way. Issei took her to many points in the city, and taking advantage of the tour, it became a date. They watched movies, had lunch, strolled through the city parks, and went to the games. For Yu it was the best day of her life. Before the day ended, they flew off towards the forest, moving away from the city without being seen. And why would that be? The reason was simple. Issei would show Yu his transformations. Once they were far enough away from the city, they landed on the ground, and Issei proceeded to create a magical barrier so that no one could see them. Issei. Alright Yu, as promised, I'll show you my transformations. Yu. Of course, Issei, she said somewhat impatiently. Issei. Well, as you can see, this is my base form. Yu simply nodded. Issei. I. Then Issei would transform into a Super Saiyan. Issei's appearance in Super Saiyan. Yu blushed when she saw her boyfriend's appearance transformed into a Super Saiyan. Issei. This is the Super Saiyan, he said smiling. Yu nodded, blushing. Issei. Issei transformed into Super Saiyan 2. Issei. And this is Super Saiyan Phase 2. You, upon seeing him, would be surprised. At first glance, he didn't look very different, but he noticed that Issei's hair stood on end more noticeably, and he saw the electrical sparks. Issei. And then The ground began to tremble. Yu was incredulous, then she saw Issei's hair growing longer than usual. Issei kept shouting and then. Issei. Imagine you are in Super Saiyan 2. The golden light blinded Yu after she finished seeing her boyfriend's new appearance. She was speechless, blushing, and had stars in her eyes because of her boyfriend's serious face. She realized it was true what he said. When he transformed into that phase, he didn't have eyebrows. Issei. And this is my favorite, it's Super Saiyan 3, he said seriously. Issei. Yu, looking around. Yu disappeared. Issei searched for him with his eyes. How soft. Upon hearing the voice, Issei looked back and saw that his girlfriend was on his back, stroking his hair and hugging him like a bear. When Issei saw this, an anime-style sweat drop appeared on his face, then he detransformed, returning to his base state. Issei. And those are my transformations. Yu. Muo Issei, you're mean. She said, pouting. Issei. Because. Yu. I wanted to keep stroking your hair, it's so soft and warm. You're mean, Issei. Issei. You can do it another time. He said, blushing, looking at her. Yu. Really? Issei. Yes, and it's already getting late. Yu. It's time no Issei. Then Issei would hug Yu. Issei. Yu, I know you don't like the idea, but when the time is right, we'll be together again. Yu. I know Issei. Issei. And you, how would you remove the ivory pieces from Rias? Yu. Don't worry, Issei, I know a way to remove them without killing me. Issei. And what is that method? Laura. Do you remember that Ajuka-sama told us in the past that he had a device that could remove pawn pieces without killing the user? Issei. That's true. Laura. That's why I'll borrow it. Translated from borrowed. Would be stealing it. Issei. Hahaha, then I shouldn't worry. He said laughing because he knew what his girlfriend meant. Issei. Well, it's time, and remember, we'll only be separating temporarily. You. Yes, Issei, well, I have to go now or the others will suspect my absence. She said, creating a magic circle. Issei. Alright, my princess, and take this gift as a memento of our first date. He said, handing her a necklace. Laura looked at the necklace and cried tears of joy. Because it was two necklaces of hearts cut in half, one had a Y and the other an I. Issei. I had the freedom to buy it. I ordered it when we went to see movies. And tell me, do you like it? Laura. Yes, I like Issei a lot. Issei. Even if we separate, I'll always be there for you. He puts on the necklace with the letter Y. You. I'll always be there for you too, Issei. She said, putting on the necklace with the letter I. Then the two would share one last kiss full of love. You. It's time for me to go, Issei. Please take care. Issei. You too, if anything serious happens, don't hesitate to call me. You. Yes, goodbye my Saiyan, and thank you for this day that I will always treasure. Issei. Remember that this will only be temporary. We'll be together again soon. He said, caressing her cheek. You, see you soon Issei. She said, caressing Issei's cheek. You would separate from Issei and pass through the magic circle. After you left, Issei was sad because they would be separated for a while, and to be together again, they had to resolve the problems with the factions. Then Issei took advantage of the barrier to train and put into practice the teachings of his master Black. In his mind he only thought about becoming stronger to protect the people he loved, but there were only two. His girlfriends, Vampire and Dragon. Chapter 8. Tokyo City Issei's department. Right now, Issei is putting on his uniform because it's Monday and it's his first day at Asahiyama Academy and his first day of work at the pastry shop. And he was looking at his watch, but this wasn't just any watch because he had created it with magic just a few minutes ago and it had the power to summon his fighting suit and mask in case of any emergency. After getting everything ready, she set about making her breakfast. After breakfast, Issei left his apartment, walked to the building's exit, greeted the receptionist, and left the building. On the streets of Tokai City, people could be seen without a care in the world, some heading to their jobs, others at their workplaces, but some people caught his attention, especially the women, and a black-haired boy walking straight to his academy. And some girls whispered how handsome he was. Girl 1. Did you see that boy? She whispered, blushing. Girl 2. Yes, he's very handsome and you can tell he goes to the gym, she whispered, blushing. Among other things, the men, on the other hand, looked at him with a death stare because he attracted the attention of the girls. Issei just continued on his way, ignoring the comments around him, but then a girl who passed in front of him caught his attention. She was walking somewhat quickly, as if she wanted to escape from something. Issei noticed that she was very nervous. And then, of course, 4 men passed by, and Issei realized they were following the girl. He saw her enter an alley, followed by the men. Issei knew what was happening and didn't hesitate to head to that alley. In the alley. I already said I won't go with you. Boy 1. Don't be shy, you'll have fun. No, I would never accompany beasts like you. She said angrily. Boy 2. Look, girl. He said, grabbing her arm. Let me go, pervert. He said, struggling. Boy 2. I'm tired of your tantrums. You're coming with us whether you like it or not. He said angrily. No, please help, she didn't finish because she was cornered against the wall. Boy 2. Then he leaves us no choice, we'll do it by force. No, let me go. He said, struggling. Boy 2. Don't worry, we'll be gentle. He said with a perverted smile. The boys were approaching the girl and one of them raised his hand to touch her breasts. No, please let me go. She said with tears. The girl begged them to stop but they ignored her and then. Hey, don't you know that when a girl says no, it means no? He said angrily. The 4 boys turned around and saw a dark-haired boy. Boy 1. And what's it to you? Boy 2. If this is none of your business. Issei. Well, now it is. I can't just stand idly by and watch some bastards try to abuse a lady. He said angrily. When the girl heard them call her lady, she blushed and her heart beat fast. Boy 3. Don't try to be a hero, kid. He said angrily. Boy 4. You're just a talker, you better leave before we kill you. Issei. If you really can kill me, I challenge you to try. He said, throwing his backpack to the floor. Then Issei would get into a fighting stance. Boy 2. You asked for it, attack him. The 3 boys ran towards Issei. When they got close, one was about to throw a punch at his face, but Issei stopped it. Then he kneed him in the face. The others, not believing what had happened, became frustrated and threw punches and kicks, but Issei easily dodged them and Issei attacked with several punches and kicks. Afterwards, the 3 boys could be seen lying on the floor with many bruises and blood. Boy 2. Damn it. He said, pulling out a knife. The boy would run with the intention of stabbing her with the knife. Watch out. The girl shouted. When Issei realized he had the knife, he was annoyed. The boy, being close, tried to stab him, but Issei dodged and grabbed the hand holding the knife, intending to take it away and throw it away. Boy 2. Damn it, let me go. He said, struggling. Issei. And why would I do that? Did you listen to her when she asked you to? He said angrily. The boy wouldn't say anything. Issei. Your silence says it all. If you didn't listen to him, why would I? He said with a macabre smile. Issei. If I see you continue to bother her, I'll break all your bones until you can't move again. He said with the same smile. Boy 2. Yes, please, I won't bother him again. He said fearfully. Issei. Fine, now get out of my sight. He said angrily. Then Issei attacked and sent the boy flying. The other boys would only be afraid of the black-haired boy. Issei. You've been warned. If I see you bothering her or any other girl again, I won't send you to the hospital, I'll send you to her funeral. He said with a macabre smile. The boys would just run away, leaving Issei and the girl alone. Issei. Are you okay? He said, turning around. Thank you, I didn't know what would have happened to me if you hadn't arrived, she said with tears. Issei. Don't worry, he said smiling. Then Issei approached the girl, and when he was in front of her, he wiped away her tears, which surprised her and made her blush. Issei. A beautiful girl like you shouldn't cry over those bastards. He said, smiling. Thank you, she said nervously, blushing. Issei. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Issei. He said smiling. I'm Ayaka Kamisato, she said blushing. Issei. It was a pleasure, Kamisato-san. Now let's get out of here. Issei would walk towards his backpack followed by Nino, then they would leave the alley. Issei. And Kamisato-san, why were those guys following you? He said, looking at her. Ayaka. She said blushing. Issei. What? Ayaka. Just call me Ayaka. Issei. Ayaka-san, why were you following me? Ayaka. I was just going to the phone shop to get mine repaired and out of nowhere they appeared and told me to come with them. I kept saying no, but they insisted and were a real pain. I just wanted to get away, but they kept following me. She said angrily. Issei. And because you walked away, you ended up there. He said, pointing at the alley. Ayaka. Yes, but thank you for saving me, Issei-kun. She said smiling. Issei. Don't worry, I would never let guys like them hurt a pretty girl. He said smiling. Nino. Issei. I have to go now or I'll be late. He didn't finish because he was looking at his watch. Ayaja. Something happens Issei-kun. Issei. I'm so late. I have to hurry or I'll be late. He said, agitated. Nino. Is doesn't finish because Issei ran away. Issei. See you later, Ayaka-san. Take care. He said, turning around and running, raising his hand in a farewell gesture. Ayaka. That boy isn't like the other beasts who just look at me with perverted faces. She said, smiling and blushing. Ayaka. Did I? She said, placing her hand on her chest. Ayaka. I have to go get my phone repaired. If I run into Issei-kun again, I'll ask him for his number. Ayaka would walk towards the phone shops to have hers repaired. At the academy. Students continued entering the academy and then a dark-haired boy was seen. Issei. Thank goodness I arrived on time. He said, relieved. Then Issei would enter the academy and he was the attention of the students. The girls were blushing with unholy thoughts about the black-haired boy and the boys were just dying of jealousy. Issei just continued on his way until he reached the principal's office, knocked on the door and received a come in. He then entered, seeing the principal looking at his papers on his desk. Issei, good morning director. He said, bowing. Director, oh, good morning Issei. Here's the paper for you to give to the teacher and I'll return your practice exam. He said, handing it over. Issei. Okay, director, I'll leave you to your work. He said, receiving him. Issei was about to leave the office, but the principal spoke. Director. Wait, Issei, there's a job a father is offering you. He said, looking at him. Issei. And what job would that be? Director. That you work as a tutor. Issei. Tutor, but then he remembered what happened apart from the girls, with 5 girls he liked, but you'll see that later. Director. This is Mr. Nakano. He recently moved to the city with his daughters. He's been looking for tutors for them and yesterday he called me to ask if there was a teacher who could tutor them. I mentioned you, Issei, and then he asked me to tell you if you were interested. Issei. Espeir Daiho Kamisato. Director. If you already know him. Issei. No, I only heard it from the other students. He said, lying. Director. That makes sense because their daughters are already in their classrooms. Issei. And about the tutoring job, I accept the job. Director. I really knew you'd accept. Now I'll consult Mr. Kamisato. He said, picking up his phone. Issei's thoughts. I wonder how Nino-san will react when she finds out I'll be her tutor. Besides, I'm worried about her safety. Those guys weren't human. They were rogue demons. If I stay close, I'll be able to find out why they were following her and I'm sure more will appear. Also, the aura Nino-san was giving off wasn't normal. Director. Mr. Kamisato, he said, speaking into the phone. Mr. Kamisato, good morning director. And tell me, young Issei, do you accept? Director, yes Mr. Kamisato, I accept the tutor position. Mr. Kamisato. Excellent, could you please send it to me? Director. No problem, Issei. Mr. Nakano wants to talk to you. He said, handing over the phone. Issei. Hello Mr. Kamisato said into the phone. Mr. Kamisato. Hello, young Issei. I'm sure the principal already told you that he's looking for a tutor for my daughters. Issei. Yes, Sir Kamisato, and tell me when I start. Mr. Kamisato. You will start today. Write down my number and I will send you the address of the classes. Issei. Yes Mr. Kamisato. He said, taking his phone. Then Mr. Kamisato would give Issei his number and the address of the classes. Mr. Kamisato. Alright, young Issei, I expect results later on and don't you dare overstep your bounds with my daughter. Act only as her guardian. He said in a deep voice. Issei. Yes Mr. Kamisato, don't worry, I won't do that to your daughter or her friends, haha. He said, laughing nervously. Mr. Kamisato. I hope so. I have work to do. Goodbye, young Issei. Issei. Goodbye Lord Kamisato. Then Mr. Kamisato would hang up. Issei. Here, take your phone, director. He said, handing over the phone. Director. Good luck young Issei. Issei would just bow as he left the principal's office. Then he was heading to his classroom, which was room 2B. When he was in front of the classroom door, he would knock and the teacher would come out. Professor. Tell me, young man, what do you want? This. Hi teacher, I'm new and the principal told me to give this to you. He said, handing the sheet to the teacher. Professor. Okay, wait for the signal and you'll introduce yourself. Issei simply nodded and the master re-entered the classroom. Inside the hall. Teacher. Young people, pay attention, today we will receive another student at this academy. And the murmurs soon followed. From the boys. Random guy. I hope she's a pretty girl like Sparkle-san. Random guy too. Yes, it would be a double prize. From the girls. Random girl. I hope he's a handsome guy and not a pervert. Among other things. Professor. You may come in. Then the door to the living room opened and a dark-haired boy entered. Issei. Hi, my name is Issei. I hope we get along well. He said smiling. The girls. Kaya, a cute boy. They screamed. The boys, on the other hand, would have a depressing aura because they were expecting a beautiful girl. Professor. Your name is just Issei. Issei. Yes, only Issei. Professor. And your last name? Issei. I don't have a last name, it's a very personal matter. He said seriously. Professor. I understand. Go ahead, you can sit wherever you like. Then Issei saw an empty seat and went to sit down. Teacher. Okay, let's begin the class. And so the teacher would begin his class. Throughout the class, Issei participated in the questions the teacher asked, demonstrating his intelligence. But what I didn't notice was that during the class someone kept watching him. Then class time ended and it was time for break. Issei was in the cafeteria in a line waiting for his food order because his Saiyan stomach was already demanding food. Seeing that it was his turn, he continued. Issei. Rice with roast beef, please. Cook. Here is your order, it would be 400 yen. Issei would give them the money and take their order. Then he looked for a place to sit and saw an empty table and walked towards it. When Issei placed his tray on the table, it bumped into someone else's tray at the same time. Hey, I was here first, you can sit somewhere else. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching, if you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day, bye.